I'm Christine Lisi. NFL fans will have to wait another year for Tom Brady in the broadcast booth. The recently retired quarterback told Fox's The Herd with Colin Cowherd he'll begin his role as a broadcaster with Fox during the 2024 NFL season. Last year, Brady signed a 10-year, $375 million deal with Fox to be its number one NFL game analyst. Kyrie Irving's in Dallas today for his physical with the Mavericks, a day after the blockbuster trade from Brooklyn. The Nets need to use the picks they acquired in that deal to improve their roster ahead of Thursday's deadline, advises our Jay Williams.
Frankly, I think if you're Kevin Durant, you're looking at this as an evaluation year. You're saying, hey, look, I took my extension. I am here. Is this team moving in the right direction? Do we feel like I trust in Sean Marks and Joe Tsai to help me win a championship? And by the end of the year, if you don't have better clarity on where that is, you can ask for a trade.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max co-host Jay Williams on Greeny. Durant, who asked the Nets for a trade last summer, is under contract through the 2025-2026 season. Irving, by the way, set to make his Mavs debut against the Clippers Wednesday night, 10 Eastern, ESPN TV.
Do you own or rent your home? Sure you do. Fortunately, Geico makes it easy to bundle your home and car insurance. It's a good thing, too, because having a home is hard work. Go to geico.com, get a quote, and see how much you could save. Geico.com. Easy.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Muso. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Hope you had an awesome weekend. Pels snap their skid. Tigers' misery continues. And they had a Pro Bowl game, sort of. So we'll get to a lot of it. Timmy B will be here in hour number 3. Stuart Mandel, 1 hour. By the way, have you seen the piece Stuart Mandel wrote? Stuart Mandel and Andy Staples at The Athletic did some great reporting. They wrote a piece about Jaden Rashada's NIL deal at Florida, the one that what we now know is in excess of $13 million. They got the offer sheet, like the contract, and it's incredible. So Stuart Mandel, 1 hour from right now. All right, it's after further review. The Saints are indeed expected to hire Joe Woods as the new defensive coordinator. Here's Ian Rappaport on the NFL Network.
Dennis Allen, of course, running the defense. It is his show. Will continue to call plays, but did shake up the defensive staff a little bit. Now have one of the biggest answers for their questions going into the season. Joe Woods, the defensive coordinator the last several seasons for the Cleveland Browns, is expected to get hired in New Orleans as the DC, serving as a key role for Dennis Allen, mostly working with the secondary, but obviously being the coordinator. That should be finalized, if all goes well, probably tomorrow.
So no great surprise there. We talked about Joe Woods last week when he interviewed for the gig. We talked on Friday about Todd Grantham joining the Saints staff, and we didn't know what role. It certainly would appear now that Grantham will handle the defensive line, which is where Ryan Nielsen was. And Joe Woods, being a guy who's predominantly a secondary guy, would likely handle that position group. And that's further underscored by this other bit of news today. Tom Pelissero reporting that the Saints and defensive assistant Corey Robinson are parting ways. This is really odd because Corey Robinson was in Mobile for the Senior Bowl this week. So the Saints sent Corey Robinson to Mobile for the Senior Bowl, and then it's like he gets back, and yeah, you're not going to work here anymore. This is just bizarre. And listen, I want to be clear. I'm not sitting here trying to tell you that I think Corey Robinson is this completely unincredible, like game-changing guy in the secondary who is just unreplaceable or irreplaceable. But Tom Pelissero noted Corey Robinson, who ran the DB room last season, he let his contract expire and is a free agent. So sort of his choice, I guess, not to come back, that he'll go elsewhere now. I keep looking at this, and there's parts of it that, this being the Saints offseason in total, that don't make sense. You finished this past season 5th in the NFL in total defense. Your defense was not your problem. And as we've noted during the second half of the season, really starting with the shutout of the Raiders, your defense was actually exceptional. You're one of the best scoring defenses in the NFL, starting with that Raiders shutout, 24-0. After that, you did allow 27 to the Ravens. You allowed 20 to the Steelers. You allowed 20 to the Rams, 13 against the Niners, 17 against the Bucks. Remember, that was a game where they had 3 points with like 3 minutes to go. 18 to Atlanta. You beat the Browns 17-10, so you allowed 10 to the Browns, 10 to the Eagles, 10 to the Panthers. So the last 3 games, you allowed 30 points total, 10 each week. Your defense was spectacular by the end of the season. Now, your run defense struggled, but scoring defense, total defense, you're very good. So I can understand Ryan Nielsen taking another job. He's going to go be the defensive coordinator in Atlanta. He's calling the shots. You don't want to bring back Chris Richard to give him the opportunity to go do the same, where he can go be a coordinator and call the shots? Okay. Corey Robinson, obviously, he don't want to be back. He let his contract expire. He's going to look where he can go get an opportunity elsewhere, which clearly he didn't see that in New Orleans. So you have all this turnover on your defensive staff, which was very good, and you're not doing a damn thing with the offense. They blew out Dan Rauscher, and I don't know if you saw this today, but Sean Payton is hiring Zach Strief to be his offensive line coach. So you remember the story with Strief. He played his whole career in New Orleans and then went and did radio for a couple of seasons, then jumped out of the radio booth onto the field as a Saints offensive line assistant. It's worth noting, Doug Marrone is the Saints offensive line coach, so you really don't lose anything here. Zach was an assistant on the offensive line, whereas Doug Marrone, who's been an NFL head coach, is your offensive line coach. So you could say Zach Strief has a lot of potential there. Maybe he does. Maybe he'll go be a great line coach. The Saints did bring Jari Evans on board last year as an offensive line assistant, in that training role. So maybe Jari Evans, Jari Evans was a coaching intern last summer, was how they phrased it. So now maybe Jari Evans fills that role that Zach Strief had. I don't know, but my point is, if you were looking at last season and saying this is not acceptable, and you were hoping for changes, the Saints maintaining the status quo isn't going to instill an awful lot of confidence. And I have no problem with the Saints hiring Joe Woods. Guy's been a DC in Cleveland. He's been a DC in Denver. Dennis Allen hired him back in 2014 when Allen was the coach of the Raiders. So there's a lot of things here that I'm perfectly fine with hiring Joe Woods. That's not a problem. And I'm good hiring Todd Grantham. I think you need your defensive line to improve. And maybe Todd Grantham, who had 11 years NFL experience as a defensive line coach before he jumped back into college with Florida and Mississippi State and Georgia, I think Grantham could certainly help there. But that's not where you need to improve. Yeah, sure, improve, but where you need changes, where you need to shake things up is on the offensive side. And I keep getting people asking me, hey, what about bringing in someone like Joe Lombardi? I don't know what's going to happen with Joe Lombardi. Joe Lombardi got fired with the Chargers. He's had interest elsewhere. Maybe Sean Payton brings him to Denver like he just did with Zach Strief. That's an interesting sort of sub-layer to this whole offseason is how many Sean Payton assistants follow him to Denver to join his staff, either currently in New Orleans or former Saints assistants, which is then when I point back to Dennis Allen and say, you got to do you, man. You can't sit here and try to recreate what Sean Payton had because you tried that this year and it didn't work. You tried to maintain the culture and the organization, the structure that had been put in place for a decade and a half, and it didn't work. You went 7-10 this year, and you weren't particularly close to being a championship caliber team. And if you think you're you're Derek Carr away from being a contender, it's just wrong. I just flatly disagree. There were way too many instances this year where you could look at the Saints team and say, yeah, they're not competitive. Blowing the game at Tampa was atrocious. The 2 pick sixes against the Cardinals. Terrible interception in the end zone by Andy Dalton. You could look at the game against the Ravens on Monday Night Football in your own building where you were not competitive in that game. There are way too many holes on this team to think that you're Derek Carr away from being right back in contention for a Super Bowl. And this season should have been an illustration of that. So maybe there are more changes to come, but unless you see them, maintaining the status quo for this team is tough to swallow. But what they're doing on the defensive side, I'm perfectly fine with. It's Dennis Allen is the guy who's the puppeteer. So if he's pulling the strings defensively, great. I'm good with that. He's proven he's a very good NFL defensive coordinator. But you need so much more than that for this team to get back into being competitive to a championship level. So the beat goes on, and we'll see if they do, in fact, make any offensive additions. We know they're not subtracting offensive staff, but are there additions to come that will help this team improve? We wait to see. All right, it is after further review. We're glad you're with us. Sean Payton was introduced in Denver. We'll let you hear some of what he had to say. And I do want to talk a little hoop as the Pelicans won a back-to-back, which was really, you could just exhale now with that. But the beat goes on with the LSU basketball team as their misery continued. We'll get to all of that as we continue here on AFR.
AFR.
Hey, y'all, this Friday we will be at Rouse's in Denham. Our buddy Alex Bregman is launching the latest product in his Breggy Bomb line. You've heard about the salsa, of course. Well, Bregman is now launching the barbecue sauce. So Breggy Bomb will be statewide in Rouse's this week. So we're looking forward to having Bregman with us and us be at Rouse's in Denham on Friday. So Hunt Palmer will be there 1 to 3, and then AFR from 3 to 6. So our live programming all afternoon from 1 to 6 p.m. from Rouse's in Denham. Come on by, get you some Breggy Bomb, get you some free food. Rouse's donating food for like they're giving the Breggy Bomb people like food to feed 500 people. So come on out, bring a herd, get some free food, meet Bregman, watch the show. We're looking forward to a great time this Friday at Rouse's in Denham for AFR. We'll see you there. Remember, still get your king cakes online at rouses.com, crawfish as well. One place, it's Rouse's.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walk.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them. because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
Saturday, February 25th, 7 p.m. The Bulls Bands and Barrels Tour at the Lamar Dixon Expo Center. Presented by Jerry Lane Chevrolet. Edge of your seat excitement with bull riding, barrel racing, ultimate bullfighting. With a live performance by Bailey Zimmerman. With Timothy Wayne. Plus two-time PBR world champion.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Nearly travel, got it to Trey, popped that wing three! Nothing but net! Trigger! Timeout! Mike Brown, he's going to run out of them.
You know how many points they were up when that happened? 33.
I was going to say they were up 30 the whole game.
He's so energized. I love
Play it again. Wait, I love like the falsetto. Like what do you call like the vibrato? Play it again.
Nearly travel, got it to Trey, popped that wing three! Nothing but net! Trigger! Timeout! Mike Brown, he's going to run out of them.
Got him.
Oh, do you feel like you just exhale a little bit?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. Give me more. I want more.
Bounce feed left corner, Trey. They close out on him, though, with Murray. Oh, beautiful crossover. Drives in and dunks it over Murray. Two hands. What a crossover by Trey Murphy.
Oh, man. Last week, I was taking a leak, Muse.
Okay.
And I was just sitting there thinking, I'm serious. I do a lot of thinking. It's just a time when you have nowhere to go.
Yeah.
Nowhere to go, nothing to you, just standing there waiting. And I was thinking, man, we really haven't. I haven't said give me Graf in a long time. No. Look at 10-game losing. Wasn't it December?
Yeah.
When was the?
Well, it was. They went 3-13 in January, so it started in January.
Oh man. I mean, 10 straight was like you really start to wonder. Like, when are they? I know they're not going to lose out, but like when's it going to happen?
Yeah.
It's a big difference when you turn on the game and you're expecting them to win on any given day, and then you're just like hoping this is the day the misery ends.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I'm not going to sit here and force feed Graf calls down your throat when they're losing 10 straight.
Yeah, no, we don't want that.
But you better believe I'm going to do it today. Give me more Graf!
Get it to Nance. Show and go on Barnes underneath the hoop. Bounce feed to Najee. Back into the paint. Running floater over Sabonis. Back iron, no good. Nance took it away from Sabonis and then dunks it in. He just ripped it away from the Lithuanian.
Nance took it away from Sabonis! Oh, man. I want, like, no context Graf. That's what I want. No context Graf would be the best Graf. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just
Nance rips it away from Sabonis. Just without any context whatsoever. It just makes so much sense. Oh, man, look, they beat the Lakers on Saturday.
Oh, so good.
I had to go to a charity event Saturday night, and I left at halftime. I left my house at halftime, and they gave up 72. Wasn't it 72 to 61 and I'm going, damn, like.
Here we go again type thing?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I didn't see any of the second half, and then I checked the score, and I saw that they won, and I kind of rejoiced a little bit. And so that was really good. And then, look, to come back yesterday and to win the second of a back-to-back and to do so without – oh, yeah, go ahead. Yeah, sure. We can start it over. To win the second of a back-to-back and to do it while resting B.I. and Jonas, and obviously you're down Zion as well, and to win by 30. I mean, I don't want to oversimplify it, but, like, play Willie Green, number one, please.
Game plan, discipline. All the guys understood that we were down a few guys, so we needed to step up, and we're extremely proud of everyone on our team. Everybody that touched the floor today, they contributed, and like you said, it started with our defense, getting deflections, challenging shots, rebounding the ball, and we just played fast tonight.
I don't know, y'all. I don't know any other way to say it. Like, it feels like the pressure is off. Like, whenever you're in the midst, and you see this in a lot of different sports, like, thank you, Muse. I guess we could kill the song now. I guess it's comparable in baseball, right? If you're in a long hitting slump, like, you wonder, when are you ever going to get out of it? And sometimes it takes just getting that first knock to clear your mind and to feel like you can win again, like you can hit again, like you can. And so, last night I sat there and I watched that game, and it was pretty incredible to watch it transpire the way that it did. And maybe the most important thing is during the 10-game losing streak, the third quarter killed this team. Third quarter killed this team during their losing streak. The last two games, Saturday and Sunday against the Lakers and the Kings, they were phenomenal in the third quarter. They were dominant. It's when they grew their leads. Well, it's where they rallied against the Lakers, and they grew the lead against the Kings. So, I'm not going to minimize that. I really legitimately think so much of it is just having the pressure of that losing streak off, seeing a W again. It's like a shooter, man. It's like a shooter that's gone cold. Sometimes you just need to see the ball go through the basket, and then your confidence is back. Or a golfer putting. I mean, it can get in your head, and you need to see one go in. And when you do, it just feels like you can get back to yourself. So hopefully that's what it was for this team. It was fascinating because we talked last week about how even with the losing streak, they were still like in fourth in the Western Conference. Well, they had tumbled all the way to 11th. They were out of the play-in, and now with back-to-back wins, they're 9th again. So you're 9th, and you are, the Clippers are a game and a half ahead of you. So you're a game and a half away from being in fourth again. So you can just exhale. You know this team is good. You know they're talented. You know they're deep. And you know you're getting Zion back. And you know the All-Star break is coming. And all these very positive things. You just needed the bad things to end. And it did on Saturday with beating the Lakers. And he came back with a nice win yesterday. So very, very cool to see. And you know what? And we got to play Graph. Give me more Graph, Muse. Just, I don't care what it is. A dealer's choice. Just give me Graph.
Trey, left angle three. Yes! You know it! Season high tying 6 threes for Murphy. Season high 28 points for Trigger.
I need a yeah, you right. I need a yeah, you right from Graph. You're not familiar? You're not a yeah, you right guy?
No.
Okay. So that my dad yells yeah, you right. That's a New Orleans slang slogan, whatever you want to say. Like, my dad to this day still yells, yeah, you right. Somebody scores, yeah, you right. Go to the Dome, sit in section 613. Yeah, you right. That's what's going to happen. I need a yeah, you right from Graph on air.
Well, I mean, look.
I know he's listening right now. I know he's listening right now, for a fact.
Yeah, so you're probably going to get it.
I want a yeah, you right. Graph, I want a yeah, you right on air. Tomorrow in Atlanta against the Hawks, I want a yeah, you right. I'll tell you this much, Graph, and I know he's listening. Give me a yeah, you right on the call tomorrow, and that will lead the show on Wednesday. It leads the show. I don't care what happens. I mean, Aaron Rodgers could sign with the Saints. Tom Brady could come out of retirement to play for the Saints. Nick Saban could join Brian Kelly's staff as defensive coordinator. Don't care.
The other important part of that is that they have to make sure they clip it and save it in the file so I can grab it.
Oh, no. Muse, if we get a yeah, you right, you'll have to dig all the way through the whole game to find it.
Just listen to the entire archive of the game.
Oh, wait, hang on. He texted me. Hold on. What did he say? I knew he was listening. Ah!
He's always listening.
All caps, it will happen.
Yeah.
If it happens, it leads the show on Wednesday, regardless of outcome of the game or any other sports story. Is there anything going on Tuesday, Muse, that we know? Like anything super pressing?
No.
All right.
Nothing scheduled.
All right, nothing that we know of.
Yeah.
But even if something wild and wackadoo happens, Graf, yeah, you're right, leads the show. Cold. Open the show. Yeah, you're right, Graf. All right, we're brought to you by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Bluebonnet in Baton Rouge, Ambassador Caffrey in Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com, theantiagingclinics.com. Hey, remember, all this month, $100 off lip filler. Of course, it's Valentine's Day month. So, gentlemen, let's see, we are talking 8 days. Is my math right? Today's the 6th to the 14th, 8 days. I'm not good at math, but you got a little more than a week, guys. A gift card from the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana is sure to thrill her as well. Bluebonnet in Baton Rouge, Ambassador Caffrey in Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. If it's Botox, to body contouring, or HRT, and everything in between, they've got you covered at the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online, theantiagingclinics.com. That's theantiagingclinics.com. As we mentioned, so Pels get off the schneid, they win. LSU basketball loses again. I've just got to this point where I think we all understand what this season is, what it's going to be, and there's not really a lot of justification of breaking down the game itself. The one question I get asked sort of over and over again is, has Matt McMahon lost the team? I think if you watched any of Saturday's game, it's indicative that he certainly has not lost the team. Trey Hannibal did not play. That was a coach's decision. But a team that beat you by 40 a month ago came into your building and really didn't start to pull away until inside of the 13-minute mark in the game. Bama went on a 19-9 run at about the 13-minute mark. But LSU was pesky. They fought. They played really hard. And they gave a much better effort against a team that beat them by 40 a month ago. So, no, Matt McMahon's not lost the team. The other, and you played really, really hard against a top-5 team in the country. The other thing that's somewhat relevant here is you start to ask the question, when you get to 10 straight losses now, are you teetering on like record-breaking territory? And we're talking about the types of records that are not the ones you want to break. So if you're curious, the Johnny Joneses last year, the 2016-2017 season, LSU lost 15 straight games. It was 14 league games, and they also lost in the midst of that to Texas Tech in the Big 12 SEC Challenge. So it was 14 league games and 15 overall consecutive. That was a school record, 15 consecutive losses. In John Brady's first year, that, of course, was the year where he inherited the team that was, amid sanctions and a lot of issues, but that team lost 12 straight to finish the season. So when you start talking about LSU right now at 10 straight losses and you start to go where, the same question we were kind of asking about, excuse me, kind of the question we were asking about the Pels, when is the win going to come? I think it's fair to start to ask that about LSU basketball as well. On Wednesday, they're going to go to Mississippi State, and State is the hump is not an easy place to play, and State's not having a very good year under first-year coach Chris Jans, but they are 3-7 in the league, and that's better than you are at 1-9. So going on the road and winning is tough. Then you're home against Texas A&M, and A&M has been really one of maybe the biggest surprise in the league this year. They're 8-2 in the conference. Then you're at Georgia, another team that was projected to finish, bringing up the rear, but they're at 4-6 in the league, so they've sort of held their own. And then I think you look at Feb 18 when you're home against South Carolina as the next time that you'll likely be favored to win a game. So you're at 10 straight, and then you play at State against A&M, then at Georgia. I think it's reasonable to think you could be at 13 straight before you're home against South Carolina with a chance to maybe snap that skid. So I'd love to see him do it. For any athlete in any sport, you hate to see a losing streak like this. You just want guys or girls that work hard and go to practice and keep grinding it out. Like, you want them to have success, man. Losing sucks. No one wants to be a part of that. And you hope that they're eventually rewarded for their efforts and they can get back on a winning track. Schedule was brutal. We knew it was going to be brutal. We said it from the beginning. I'm not sure I expected this, where they'd be at a 10-game losing streak. But here they are. Let's see if they can dig their way out of it. All right, it's after further review. Always glad to have you aboard with us. We'll knock out a quick break. We'll go around the SEC. Tom Brady did update his broadcast future. We'll let you know about that. And in 30 minutes from right now, Stewart Mandel of The Athletic is going to be here. One of the big stories during this recruiting cycle was Jaden Rashada, who reportedly had north of $13 million offered from the Gator Collective there in Gainesville. Stewart Mandel, Andy Staples did some great reporting, and they actually have the details of that contract that was not fulfilled. So we're going to talk to Stewart Mandel again 30 minutes from right now. We're glad you're here. It's AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. Get Gordon and get it done. Of course, Gordon has been helping injured people in our state for more than 30 years. If you've been injured in an accident, it's not your fault. Do what injured people in our state have done for 3 decades. Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. But we talk so often about how Gordon gives back. And, of course, the Gordon Gives arm is the charitable arm of Gordon's law firm. And you've seen them do a lot through NIL deals, the 500 bike giveaway around Christmas, and so many other ways that they've given back. And the latest is Playing for a Purpose. Gordon Gives is going to donate $20 for every point scored by Alexis Morris and Angel Reese to the Turner Syndrome Foundation here during this month. And that's a charity chosen by Kim Mulkey herself. And it's a charity that's near and dear to their family. So a great thing that Gordon's doing to continuously give back in so many ways. Get Gordon and get it done. Go to getgordon.com. Get Gordon and get it done.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
Saturday, February 25th, 7 p.m. The Bulls, Bands, and Barrels Tour at the Lamar Dixon Expo Center. Presented by Jerry Lane Chevrolet. Edge of your seat excitement with bull riding, barrel racing, ultimate bullfighting. With a live performance by Bailey Zimmerman. With Timothy Wayne, plus two-time PBR world champion.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
This February, 104.5 ESPN and Citizens Bank and Trust are here to offer you a holiday rebate. Tune in to the tune of $2,000 cash prize. We'll also be selecting a local prize winner to receive $1,000 cash prize. Sign up now at 1045ESPN.com.
What just happened?
I stumbled over that. I don't know. The wording kind of threw me off. I read it like in my head during the break, and then when I went to go read it on air, I don't know, it just didn't sit right like it did when I read it in my head.
I mean, you stopped and went, huh?
Yeah, because here to offer you a holiday rebate to the tune of $2,000 cash prize. I mean,
a $2,000 cash prize?
Yeah, it didn't, to the tune of a $2,000 cash prize.
You left out the article.
Yeah, it didn't, I was going through it, and I said tune in because, I don't know, I was thinking radio. Hey, look, man, it just.
Words, I tell you. Words are tough to say.
They'll get you sometimes.
Words
They'll
are
sneak
tough
up
to say.
on you.
Man, and you're early today, too. 3:36. I mean.
I don't know what you're talking about, but I mean.
About your habit.
What habit? There's no habit.
The habit that you partake in every day around 4:20.
That's not true.
You saw Elon Musk over the weekend tweeted. He just tweeted 4:20 at 4:20. That was it. No context.
I didn't see that.
420. The replies were great.
I bet they were.
Read the replies. They're always funny. Not always, but sometimes. All right, it's after further review. Tom Brady was I love that people are congratulating Cowherd on getting Tom Brady as a guest. Like, hey, great get, man. I mean, Tom Brady. You understand the connection here?
Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah,
we'll say it.
Well, Tom Brady works for Fox.
Yes.
Yeah. So does Colin Cowherd.
It ain't a great get. Hey, Tom, we're going to pay you $375 million over a decade, but we'd really like for you to go on Cowherd's show to make the announcement. Great get. How did he pull that one?
Deal breaker for Tom. What if that was the... No, I can't do it. Sorry.
Not doing that guy's show. Here was Tom Brady making his TV announcement.
And I think for me, I want to be great at what I do. And even, talking even last week with the people at Fox Sports, and the leadership there allowing me to start, my Fox opportunity in the fall of 2024 is something that's great for me. So take some time to really learn, become great at what I want to do, become great at, thinking about the opportunity and making sure I don't rush into anything. And I think when people really bet on me, I think one thing about my career, whether I was drafted by the Patriots or signing for free agency with the Bucks, I wanted to be, fully committed, and I never wanted to let people down. I think my biggest motivator was that. So, even in the future, I want to be great at what I do, and that always takes some time and strategizing and learning and growing and evolving, and I have so many people to rely on that can support me in that growth too. So it's going to be a great opportunity for me to take some time to really certainly become at my Fox broadcasting job, which I'm really looking forward to, but also catching up on other parts of my life that need some time and energy.
Good for him, man. I don't think anybody would expect anything less from. And I do get asked a lot. Like, let me not be mistaken here. Like, I don't want anybody to have any misgivings about what I'm about to say. Like, I get it. He's Tom Brady. I get that's Fox National Broadcasting for the NFL and whatever. But I get asked sometimes, like, hey, do you ever what do you think about athletes that sort of skip the line, right? That jump into radio or TV and they don't have to pay their dues, because this is an industry, as like. The three people in this room will tell you, this is an industry where you have to pay your dues. Like, there just aren't shortcuts, unless if you're an athlete. But the reason is because they have a skill set that none of us do. Like, the experience they have playing lends a degree of credibility and a path toward information that you can't get if you don't do that. So I'd never have a problem with an athlete getting that opportunity, because they're lending a perspective that nobody else has other than athletes, and it's something that's valued by the audience. So, I mean, go get him, man. Good for him for saying, I'm going to take a year and really try to learn and hone this craft. Look, I respect. We talked about Zach Strief earlier, and I remember Zach Strief did a podcast with, I'm almost positive it was Mike Neighbors, and I hope I didn't screw this up. And I hope it wasn't someone else. I'm doing this kind of off the cuff. Zach Streif did a podcast, I believe it was Mike Neighbors' podcast, and he talked about the first game. It was a preseason game. They're playing Jacksonville, and they went to the first break, and he took his headset off and just put his head down on the table and thought, what in the hell am I doing? Because he was so not ready for that. Play-by-play is very hard. Anyway, so there's a learning curve. I mean, there's a growth curve involved with everything, and I'm sure there will be for Tom Brady as well. So good for him for saying, I'm going to take a year and learn as much as I can and practice to get as good as I can at this for when I actually put the headset on for real. So good for him, man. I'll look forward to hearing him in 2024. I think a lot of people are going to be really curious. All right, it's After Further Review, brought to you by South Point Volkswagen, southpointvw.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at southpointvw.com. I literally just got a text into the show from a guy named Rusty. I won't say his last name because I don't know if he wants me to, but he said, is there a preferred salesman at South Point Volkswagen? Well, they're all great. But Mr. Bill Reinhart has been awesome to work with for me over the years, and we have bought a lot of cars at South Point. Erica had a Jetta. She had a Passat, and then I had a Volkswagen CC, and then Erica got an Atlas. Now I have an Atlas. So we have driven a lot of vehicles from South Point over the years, and one thing is always true. You get the style, the feel, the performance of luxury without the cost. Louisiana's largest volume Volkswagen dealer. Because they move more inventory, they can always make you a great deal. It's at South Point Volkswagen, Airline just north of Highland, or southpointvw.com. That's South Point Volkswagen. What's your direction? Okay, do it every day about this time. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products, excellence in imaging solutions. The Alabama Crimson Tide.
Nick Saban has his new defensive coordinator, and it's his old defensive coordinator, Kevin Steele, going back to Bama for a third stint with the Crimson Tide. He's 64 years old now, by the way. He was Nick's first defensive coordinator at Bama in 2007, returned to Bama in 2013 as director of player personnel, then coached linebackers in 2014 before he left for LSU. So Kevin Steele has been the DC at Bama, LSU, Auburn, Clemson, most recently was at Miami this past season, but now Kevin Steele heads back to Tuscaloosa.
The Georgia Bulldogs.
One of Georgia's top 2022 signees will not practice with the team this spring. Marvin Jones Jr. will be recovering from shoulder surgery and will miss spring drills. Jones signed as a 5-star in the 2022 class, played a limited role this past season for the national champions, but with Nolan Smith and Robert Beal leaving for the NFL, Jones is expected to take a much larger role in 2023. Bulldogs also signed 3 outside linebackers in this most recent class.
The Tennessee Volunteers.
Tennessee football has committed recruiting violations following the 2021 season relating to the Vols' pursuit of a player in the transfer portal. Apparently, one of Tennessee's assistants committed a violation by talking and texting with a high school coach of a player at another SEC school who was trying to gauge the Vols' interest in him before he entered the transfer portal. The player did not pick Tennessee. The player was not named. Self-reported violation is in addition to the ongoing NCAA probe in Knoxville under the Jeremy Pruitt regime. This is a level 3 violation and not expected to result in additional penalties. Just real quick on the hardwood from this weekend. Of course, LSU lost at home to Alabama 79-69. How about the barn burner on Rocky Top? Did you see the final?
No, I missed it. Well,
Tennessee beat Auburn 46-43.
Oh, God. That's terrible.
It was a top 25 matchup. That's atrocious. Vandy got a win. It came at Ole Miss's expense because Ole Miss is the worst team in the league. 74-71. Arkansas went on the road to South Carolina and eked one out 65-63. Mississippi State beat Missouri at home. A very nice win for the Bulldogs, 63-52. Texas A&M keeps it rolling. They beat Georgia 82-57, blasted them. And Kentucky outlasted Florida at Rupp 72-67. There you have it. That is Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products. Shout out to our guy Trey Beal and our friends at Gulf Coast Office Products. Online at gcopnet.com, gcopnet.com for Gulf Coast Office Products. Face-to-face sales, service after the sale. That's what you always get at Gulf Coast Office Products. Great people, and no matter what it is you're looking for, the dynamic collaboration of their interactive whiteboards. The interactive whiteboards became so popular during COVID because it allowed people sort of to work remotely and interact live with employees or vendors or customers anywhere in the world. You can check them out at gcopnet.com, gcopnet.com for Gulf Coast office products. All right, it's after further review. I hope you had a great weekend. Glad you're hanging out with us here. 15 minutes from right now, Stewart Mandel will join us. And also in hour 2, we're going to talk with our buddy Ross Jackson, Locked on Saints, who spent last week in Mobile covering the Senior Bowl. So I want some perspective on what he saw, what the Saints contingent was looking at, who stood out. We'll get to all that with Ross Jackson next hour as well. And Tim Brando in hour number 3. I believe I'm just going to light the fuse on the Dale Brown Court thing and let Tim Brando go. And it's going to be entertaining, if nothing else. So we always appreciate a couple minutes with Timmy B when we can get it. All right, y'all, it is after further review. Let's knock out our final break here of hour number 1. And when we come back, Sean Payton was introduced today in Denver. We'll let you hear some of what Sean Payton had to say. And I do want to get some feedback on the Pro Bowl, the alternate format. Players kind of seem to like it. What did you think? We'll get some of that next. It's AFR.
AFR.
River City's 1 hour air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. Tell you all the time, nights, holidays, weekends, they'll always come out. They'll never charge you extra to do so. And I love sharing 5-star Google reviews because these are real people that called River City's 1 hour air and had these experiences. This one comes from Mike, who said, the technician was very courteous and very thorough. He made sure I knew what my options were for fixing the things that were wrong with my system. Darren is very good at what he does. Thank you very much to Darren. Another 5-star Google review for Darren and River City's 1 hour air because they've been around for 40 years and treating people right. And I can tell you from my own personal experience, that's how it goes. They'll diagnose an issue and they'll lay out all the problems, like a good, better, best option. And they'll never pressure you into doing anything but want to do what's right by you so you can make an informed decision. It's River City's 1 hour air. 752-0001, 752-0001, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime.
Bayou Ford has $4,000 off MSRP plus $1,000 Ford credit cash on new 22 Ford F-150 XLT trucks. That's $5,000 off plus 0% financing. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
Saturday, February 25th, 7 p.m. Bulls, Bands, and Barrels.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Sean Payton was introduced in Denver today as the new head coach of the Broncos. I guess it's going to be interesting here. He's just undeniably and indelibly tied to this area, this fan base, and I think there's just naturally going to be a lot of interest in how he does. Payton did take the opportunity to thank the New Orleans Saints today at his introductory press conference there in Denver.
I had been exposed to a great ownership group in New Orleans, and I think it's appropriate for me to thank Mrs. Benson. Obviously, her late husband, Tom Benson, was the owner when I first arrived there. And then the general manager, Mickey Loomis. So what I knew for 16 years was functional. Wasn't easy, but it was functional, and it was supportive, and it was respectful, and it was teamwork at its best. And that was Mickey Loomis, who I didn't know at the time, who later became a very close friend, and then Mr. Benson and Mrs. Benson. That triangle, to me, was most important in this process.
I think that could be the reason to be optimistic about the Saints moving forward, even if the decisions that they make on personnel or coaches may not work out. The reason why you think that it could get back on track is that sort of functional operation from ownership, management, ownership, front office, coaching staff, all the way on down. Sean Payton also talked today about his time at Fox, his 1 year in TV.
Man, I couldn't wait for Sundays. That was my football fix. That was the day that I got to at least get a little bit of what I've been missing. My clothes I'd lay out the night before. I was the first one in. I'd wear them out. Questions. And I had the morning show with Carissa. She was fantastic. I did the second show, rotated with Jimmy Johnson, Bill, and Eric Shanks, the whole crew there. They were so fantastic. And then sit in the green room and watch 8 TV screens and basically watch a whole day of football. The first round of games, the second round of games, 5 a.m., and then go home at 5:30. And regardless of how my narrative worked out, whether I'd predicted things that were happening, whether I had a good day, what have you, you drive home and there's nothing that replaced the feeling of winning. It just didn't.
It's what always pulls these guys back in, man. One more from Sean Payton, though, and it's kind of the biggest question moving forward that everyone has, which is about Russell Wilson, where the Denver Broncos organization, no doubt, was so motivated to do what they had to do to bring in Sean Payton because they invested so much in Russell Wilson a year ago. The draft capital they gave up, the money they invested, if you're Denver, it has to work with Russ. It has to. If it doesn't, then your organization is crippled. Until you can get through this Russ contract and then start your rebuild. So it makes sense why they were willing to go all in on Sean Payton. But now they are, with these two, completely pot committed to trying to win and win immediately. Here was Sean Payton on Russell Wilson.
Here's what I know. I know he's a hard worker. I know he's an extremely hard worker. And I think you take that, you understand the skill set. He's won a lot of games in Seattle. We played them quite a bit just because we were both playoff teams in the NFC at that time. And then you go from there. And I think that's the same case, although it's a much more visible position, it's the same case and the same goal for us with every player on this roster.
I think Denver, in understanding we are biased here, right? I mean, we're going to be paying closer attention just because it's Sean Payton. But I think Denver becomes one of the most fascinating teams in the NFL next year. Now, wherever Aaron Rodgers goes, probably shoots to the top of that list. If Aaron Rodgers ends up in Las Vegas, if he ends up in New York with the Jets, off chance, obviously, but if he does end up back in Green Bay, which doesn't seem likely, but that team is going to be fascinating. But this is right there. And look, if Rodgers goes to the Raiders, and now all of a sudden you've got Mahomes and the Chiefs, we'll see what happens at the Super Bowl on Sunday, but the Chiefs at their standard, where they've had been 5 straight AFC championship games, Sean Payton and Russell Wilson together in Denver, if in fact Rodgers ends up in Las Vegas, and then Justin Herbert with the Chargers, that is hard to qualify, easy to quantify just with numbers and yardage and success and all that, but incredible. But this duo here becomes immediately one of the most fascinating questions and conversations in all of the NFL for next year. Can this work? And if it does, you end up potentially shifting the balance of power because of the division they're in there with Kansas City. So Sean Payton officially introduced in Denver today, and we'll follow it, I'm sure, as the rest of the NFL will. All right, we're brought to you by Relief Windows, Windows Door Siding, Relief Windows, and ReliefWindows.com. Sports Center is coming up, and when we come back, we'll talk to Stewart Mandel of The Athletic.
AFR.
Love telling you about Mold Zero USA because Jim Woodworth and the gang over at Mold Zero really provide an incredible service to the people that they help. You know, mold is dangerous, and mold is also a part of a lot of people's reality, especially in Louisiana, where it's wet and humid. It's a perfect breeding ground for mold. But that doesn't mean that you have to accept it or live with it, and it also doesn't mean you have to cut sheetrock and pull out insulation and do really costly, disruptive renovations if you have mold. You just need to call Mold Zero. They service the entire greater Baton Rouge and greater New Orleans areas, so you can go to the website, get the phone number, the 225 or the 504, whichever is closest to you, and they'll always give you a free estimate. They'll come and they'll spray their patented, non-toxic dry fog treatment. If you want to learn more, you can. There's a video explaining it. There's even the full Army Corps of Engineers report on effectiveness right there at the website if you want to check it out. It's Mold Zero, mold-0usa.com. Kill mold, eliminate odors. It's Mold Zero, mold-0usa.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, anytime. Hunt Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
Saturday, February 25th, 7 p.m. The Bulls, Bands, and Barrels Tour at the Lamar Dixon Expo Center. Presented by Jerry Lane Chevrolet. Edge of your seat excitement with bull riding, barrel racing, ultimate bullfighting. With a live performance by Bailey Zimmerman.
Rockin' a hard place.
With Timothy Wayne, plus 2-time PBR world champion Chris Shivers, and Brinson James, the entertainer. Tickets and information at bullsbandsandbarrels.com. Saturday, February 25th, Lamar Dixon Expo Center at 7 p.m. Presented by Jerry Lane Chevrolet, the #1 Chevrolet dealer in Louisiana.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Tom Brady's heading to the broadcast booth, but not this fall. Less than a week after announcing his retirement after a 23-year playing career, Brady told Fox's The Herd with Colin Cowherd he'll begin his role as a broadcaster during the 2024 NFL season. Chiefs running back Clyde Edwards-Helaire, eligible to play in Super Bowl 57 after being activated from injured reserve in a corresponding move, KC receiver Mecole Hardman placed on IR. Next stop for Kyrie Irving, Dallas. A day after the blockbuster trade from Brooklyn that landed him with the Mavericks, the superstar point guard in Dallas today to take his physical. Looking ahead, Irving's fit with new Mavs teammate Luka Doncic, one concern for ESPN's Tim Legler.
I want to see how Kyrie Irving reacts to Luka Doncic's ball dominance, because this is a guy that handles the basketball and controls the basketball to a greater extent than any player in the NBA. And now you've got Kyrie Irving, who also likes to get his hands on the ball first and put that thing on the ground before he has an opportunity to go do his thing.
Irving's Dallas debut set for Wednesday against the Clippers, 10 Eastern on ESPN TV.
If you want to find quality new hires in the new year, post on Indeed. When you sponsor a post, you'll get matched instantly with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed meet your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
AFR On Demand is brought to you by Hour 2. Off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt. Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Musso. And Mr. Toby Tom Plate. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. We'll talk some Senior Bowl with Ross Jackson in about 15 minutes from right now. Right now, though, one of maybe the most fascinating conversations that has popped up here in this most recent NIL cycle is the saga regarding Jaden Rashada. You know the story. Was committed to Miami, reported $9 million deal, flipped to Florida. We heard reports of numbers. Hat tip to Stewart Mandel, Andy Staples over at The Athletic that did some fantastic reporting and got a hold of the contract that Jaden Rashada ultimately did not sign or execute with the Gator Collective. And Stewart Mandel is going to join us for a couple of minutes here. Stewart, we always appreciate the time. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Doing very well. Maybe not as good as Jaden Rashada, or maybe a little better than Jaden Rashada. Let's go back. Why? When did you and Andy first start kind of digging around on this story? I mean, the dollar number obviously piqued everybody's interest, but what was it that really sent you all down this path?
To be honest, I mean, I've been following his recruitment since sometime in the spring of last year as I became more and more, I guess, educating myself on this new world of NIL and NIL Collective. He just seemed, he was a name that constantly came up in terms of, we've heard he's getting this amount, or we've heard he's getting this amount. And it was always a little puzzling because while he is a highly regarded recruit, he's not, Arch Manning. He's not Trevor Lawrence coming out of high school. And so I kind of been tracking it all along. And then when the Florida thing fell apart, it became pretty obvious that we needed to try to get to the bottom of that. And I have to give Andy a lot of credit. He's based in Gainesville, and he was the one who was able to get a hold of the $13.85 million contract, even higher than was reported at the time. But if people go on The Athletic and read the story, you'll find it's not just about this contract. It's about the whole saga, the whole journey this kid has been on as he basically became, kind of a symbol of the crazy NIL world we live in now.
Can you? I do want to sort of get some takeaways, but the story is exceptionally well done. If you go read it at The Athletic right now. But can you sort of fill in some of these blanks on how ultimately you get to the point where Jaden Rashada has, and I mean, you all have the numbers, has the offer of $13.85 million?
Yeah. Nobody knows where those exact numbers came from. Everybody that we talked to everybody was like, it wasn't me, it was this guy. And then that guy would say, it wasn't me, it was this guy. But, I think when you're talking about college football boosters, you're not necessarily dealing with logic and rational thought. I don't think, if this was a pro sport, right, and we're doing a contract for a free agent, let's say, it would be they would have a formula, and it would be based on, we think this guy can score this many points per game or whatnot. This to me, the Jaden Rashada recruitment eventually became a battle between the Miami boosters and the Florida boosters of who's going to outdo whom. And for the Florida boosters, this was a big win. This kid that had been committed to Miami, highly rated quarterback, he's going to flip from Miami to come to us. See, like you guys, John Ruiz, the big, very outspoken public Miami booster, you think you rule the world. Look what we did. Unfortunately, they did not get any sort of assurance that they had the money to fund this $13.85 million deal before they signed it. And that's where everything fell apart.
Why who ultimately started the process of the deal falling apart? Was it Florida that pulled the deal, or was Rashada, because of the uncertainties, is that seemingly why it ultimately fell apart?
I don't know exactly why it fell apart. We just know, as we reported in the story, that this contract called for an initial $500,000 payment on December 5th. And on December 7th, they terminated the contract. The Gator Collective terminated the contract with no explanation given. It was basically only in effect for about a month before they terminated it. Some people have speculated it was a bait and switch. We'll get them to come, and then but we never intended to pay the money. Well, if that was the case, why did they do it 2 weeks before signing day? He did still sign with Florida and then eventually asked for his release. But the timing of that termination letter, when he signed with Florida on December 21st, he would have known that contract is no longer. We do know that there were still discussions between the collective and perhaps others affiliated with Florida to try to keep him and give him some sort of NIL deal, just not that much. And I think that the Rashadas, he and his dad must have believed that there was a real hope of that, because he actually did move to Gainesville, pack his stuff, move to Gainesville, was there the week that the players were supposed to enroll, but then ultimately didn't enroll and asked for his release from his letter of intent.
Stewart Mandel is with us from The Athletic. One of the things you also point out is there were a lot of questions about Jaden Rashada's ability. He's obviously a fantastic football player, but is he, you mentioned Arch Manning, is he that level of elite? Is there a consensus opinion that you all were able to gather in doing this research about Rashada, the football player?
We paint a scene in there from the Elite 11 finals last year, and it was interesting to go back and read the coverage of the Elite 11 regional camp in Las Vegas, where from which he advanced to the finals, and the gushing over his. I mean, the biggest thing with him is arm strength. He's got a cannon. Nobody would dispute that, and so he played well enough in that. And there were a lot of Malachi Nelson, who's at USC now, was in that competition. Other kids who got Power 5 offers. But then at the finals, which was right after he had committed to Miami, and there had been this On3 report about a $9.5 million deal, he really struggled. And that's when, I think, after that performance, he started to move down the ranking. Let's keep some perspective here. First of all, not every five-star quarterback pans out. And there's a lot of outstanding college football quarterbacks who are ranked nowhere near as high as Jaden Rashada is. But I think not just Arch Manning, but by the end of the cycle, Dante Moore, who's going to UCLA, I mentioned Malachi Nelson, who's going to USC, Jackson Arnold, who's going to Oklahoma. Those guys were considered to be in another tier from Rashada.
Stewart, could Florida face any type of issues from the NCAA as a result of this whole saga?
Well, the NCAA has several times come out and strengthened its language about NIL infractions. And for one thing, it's a violation for boosters to be in contact with recruits, to be part of the recruiting process. And obviously, recruiting inducements are certainly a big no-no. So they came out last week and said, coincidence, obviously, but they came out just last week and said there's a new bylaw where if there's credible information about a NIL violation, whether it's a tip, a news story, whatnot, they are going to presume the school is guilty. They didn't use the guilty innocent term. They're going to presume there was a violation, and the school is going to have to prove that there wasn't. So if this doesn't fit the definition of something that would be investigated, I don't know what is. And maybe they're going to talk to Miami too, because as we reported in there, he did have a deal for his high school senior season with Miami's booster. We're all curious to see if they're actually going to be able to enforce anything, because this is pervasive, right? This was a very extreme example, but we know that recruit transfer portal kids are getting NIL deals before they actually enroll, and that all is against the rules, against pay for play. But nobody seems to be particularly scared of the NCAA, so we'll see if they actually do anything about it.
I mean, Stewart, and it's fascinating because I was talking about the exact NCAA rule that you mentioned. Couldn't a school in turn just say, we didn't, and then there's nothing to suggest otherwise? It's a pretty fascinating web that has been woven here with what the NCAA has suggested.
They were smart enough to put in the contract that, I've seen several of these contracts. They get around the pay for play issue by, you will never see the name of the school in there. You'll never see any mention of football performance. What Jaden Rashada's deal said was the requirement is that he lives in Gainesville, Florida, and that he's a member of a football team at whatever it's called, post-secondary institution. Well, there's only one option in Gainesville for that. So that's how they can get around it. They can say with a semi-straight face, oh, no, it was not a deal to come play in Florida. He just needed to be in Gainesville because we're going to have him do some autograph signings here.
Mm.
But, the NCAA has the ability. We don't have this ability, but they have the power to get cell phone records and bank statements and all that stuff. So to me, it would not be very hard to prove that somebody got an inducement before they enrolled. But to this point, NIL collectives have been a thing now for well over a year, and there's not yet been a case that I know of where a violation was actually alleged.
He is Stewart Mandel. He's on Twitter at SL Mandel. You'll give him a follow. Great piece by Stewart and Andy Staples in The Athletic right now about this Jaden Rashada saga. He lands at Arizona State ultimately, and we'll see what this may breed of the next generation, the next era of NIL deals. But it's all pretty fascinating to follow along. Stewart, we appreciate a couple of minutes, man. Great work. We'll look forward to visiting again sometime down the line.
All right. Thanks for having me.
That's our pleasure. Stewart Mandel. This is After Further Review. I don't know how you can even begin to try to prove, as Stewart said there, that the people writing these contracts are very smart business people, and they're going to make sure that the verbiage is such that the schools that they independently represent, using quotes, are covered. So in any event, I would highly recommend go read it over there at The Athletic. All right, it's After Further Review, brought to you by Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Do business with someone you know. That's us, Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. If it's roof repairs or roof replacements, Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Not sure if you noticed, but there is one of those big national out-of-town roofing companies that came into town with Ida, and they have closed up shop. We tell you all the time. We were here before the storm. We'll be here after the storm. Whatever storm that may be, if it's Ida or whatever the next one will be. Hudco Roofing has been in Louisiana for more than 2 decades. If you go to the website, HudcoRoofing.com, at the top of the page, you'll see the 318, the 225, the 504, the 337 number. So no matter where you are in the state, got a local number that can help serve you from the smallest repair to the largest replacement. And maybe you're a property manager. We would love to do commercial work and bid on jobs, and very competitive, and can do literally any type of roofing work. Hudco Roofing. Do business with someone you know, a Louisiana company born in Louisiana with Louisiana people using Louisiana products. It's Hudco Roofing. HudcoRoofing.com. All right, it's After Further Review. Quick break. Ross Jackson will join us when we come back next. Get a recap of the week in Mobile for the Senior Bowl Who stood out? Who are the Saints keeping an eye on? Risers, fallers, all that sort of stuff is coming up next here on AFR.
AFR.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
Saturday, February 25th, 7 p.m. The Bulls Bands and Barrels Tour at the Lamar Dixon Expo Center. Presented by Jerry Lane Chevrolet. Edge of your seat excitement with bull riding, barrel racing, ultimate bullfighting. With a live performance by Bailey Zimmerman.
Rockin' a hard place.
With Timothy Wayne, plus two-time PBR world champion Chris Shivers, and Brinson James, the entertainer. Tickets and information at bullsbandsandbarrels.com. Saturday, February 25th, Lamar Dixon Expo Center at 7 p.m. Presented by Jerry Lane Chevrolet, the #1 Chevrolet dealer in Louisiana.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
All right, let's say ah.
Where'd my spotlight go?
Super weird, but we can take care of it.
Get in and get better at Patient Plus.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, Reese's Senior Bowl was this past week in Mobile. Of course, the game itself was on Saturday. Our buddy Ross Jackson from Locked On Saints and Saints Wire, other great outlets as well, was there. He's going to join us for a couple of minutes here. Ross, we appreciate you, man. How are you?
Hey, buddy. Glad to be here with you, man. Thanks so much for having me on, dude. Real quick, I want to give a quick shout-out to Matty Hudak. Bring back an oldie but a goodie. I've been waiting a long time to do that, man. I've been waiting a long time to do that.
Now, you know the problem with that is I have to reset the whole damn bit now. Because there's 80% of the people listening.
Can of worms for you, Matt.
80% of the people listening have no idea. So Matty Hudak, who was good enough to join us every Monday during the Saints season, one day just kept hitting her ear or her cheek on the phone, and the whole interview there were just phone beeps, and we made a whole bit out of it. So that's what Ross was doing there, which was dynamic and wonderful. So thank you for doing that. We all needed to laugh. Okay, let's start with sort of the questions that everyone asks first and foremost. Okay, so you spend this week, and everyone likes the practices and pays more attention to that than the game itself. Who were the risers? Who sort of stood out and made the most of their time in Mobile?
Well, I mean, this guy was kind of already on the rise, but to start with somebody that, a lot of folks are already invested in, Tulane running back Tajay Spears is absolutely one of those players. He's, a guy that's coming into a tough position to always project in the NFL draft because folks are usually a little bit kind of weary around spending top draft capital for a running back because of the workload, the hits, all these things, sort of wear and tear that comes with the position. But he had himself another fantastic week in Mobile, showed that he can be a good pass protector, a good pass catcher, and, of course, the excellent runner that he is. Absolutely stole someone's soul and ankles at one point during some one-on-ones. So he had himself a fantastic week. And then you saw a couple of other players that had some, good moments and some big rises as well throughout the practice week. I'll mention, Riley Moss, the cornerback out of Iowa. He's somebody that, showed you what he could do as a technician, good speed. I think he timed out as one of the fastest MPH guys so far, throughout the practice week. Good physical corner, all of that, a guy that really helped out some of his draft stock. And basically the entire offensive line on both sides of the game in the Senior Bowl performed extremely well, which didn't pan out super great for a lot of the defensive linemen, but there were still some that were able to shine around a really, really good set of performances around the offensive line, including, just to give one name, Cody Mauk from North Dakota State University, who showed his inside-outside versatility and won a good majority of his matchups.
Flip side of it, who went there and maybe didn't have the best week?
Well, I think, you kind of list any of the quarterbacks, honestly. I mean, Malik Cunningham missed the first day. I believe it was Chrissy Floyd who had the story about how he had food poisoning or something like that, missed the first day. Had a not so bad day in the game, but really, it was the Fresno State quarterback that had the better, matchup between all of them. And then, Jaron Hall, who was coming out of BYU, there were a lot of questions about him just from a size perspective. I think he answered some of those questions coming in at a shade over 6 foot, but got hurt during practices and wasn't able to participate during the game, which was a big sort of concern around his slight frame. And there it was playing, out in front of everybody. So I think the quarterbacks outside of maybe Clayton Tune had, some kind of shaky days throughout practices, and maybe, those stocks kind of fell down as they're going to be the most scrutinized of the quarterback position anyway.
You didn't mention Hendon Hooker, who I know didn't participate, but I understand was there, right? Was there a just sort of ear to ground? What was the scuttle around him there in Mobile?
Yeah, I checked in on Hendon Hooker a lot because he was one of the guys that I was most there for, even though, like you mentioned, he didn't participate with that ACL injury. He did interviews and things like that. So I poked around, talked to a couple of scouts and some other people and personnel and all that. And a lot of positive things coming out around Hendon Hooker. His focus on the mental side of the game, there's a big emphasis in all-star games like this. I think we think of the game a lot and the consumer thinks of the game a lot, but the players as well as the NFL personnel, what they care about are the opportunities to be able to sit down and interview these guys, talk to them a little bit and kind of learn the person over the player, which they kind of already know from the film. So really the gameplay that happens on the field, whether it be at practice or during the game, is kind of more about confirming your priors, right? You're just kind of making sure that what you knew about a guy is what you see. If not, then it brings you back to the tape. But really the interviews and things like that become the most important part. That's really where Hendon Hooker still, ended up impacting, I would say, his stock. I think there are a lot of people who see him as anywhere in between. I think the easiest way to call it would be a top 100 prospect. But being a top 100 prospect as a quarterback means that you could be a first-round pick toward the bottom of the first round if the team likes you and wants to have that fifth-year option. His expectation is to be running by the end of March and then be ready and a full participant by training camp. If that ends up panning out once he does the rest of the medical checks over the course of this offseason, then that could end up propelling him even further back up the draft board.
Do you have any idea how the Saints feel about Hendon Hooker? Because obviously he's been a very popular name among fans.
Yeah, not specifically, but what I can say is this. I know that what I understand is that the interview with him went well, which I think you're going to hear about any interview. But then also the other piece about it, too, is that we spoke with Jeff Ireland, who does a lot of he's the assistant general manager, VP. He works with the college scouting department. And he's, the guy that effectively has been leading a lot of these successful draft classes over the past, few years. And one of the things that he said to us was that if we're asking him personally during his interview with us if he likes a dual threat quarterback or what kind of style he likes, he said he likes the dual threat quarterback. He likes the quarterback that's able to move, extend plays, do all that, but it has to be a dual threat quarterback that can throw when they're hurt. That's the way that he phrased it. Hendon Hooker strikes me as that person because he is an arm-first quarterback. He's a great pre-snap quarterback, which is something that I know the New Orleans Saints love. We've seen that time and time again. The NFL loves it. It's not specific to New Orleans. But he has the mobility to extend plays, kind of using his legs as an X factor. So if I'm looking for somebody within that Senior Bowl class that fits the bill of what Jeff Ireland told us he likes, Hendon Hooker's that guy.
Yeah. A couple more here with Ross Jackson. He's on Twitter at Ross Jackson Nola. Did you get a sense on who or what the Saints contingent there was focusing on?
Yeah, I think it's a lot about getting to know players. I mean, that was their big emphasis here. They sort of called, being out and watching practices simply kind of observing practices. And so, you take that into consideration. You take into consideration the fact that the Senior Bowl is a place where they get to sit down with prospects. That's kind of the biggest thing for them, is learning who, these players are as people and if they're good fits for their organization. Position-wise, more specifically, obviously quarterback's a big part of it. I would say defensive line has to be a big part of it, especially with the sort of unknown that lays ahead when it comes to, Marcus Davenport. Is he back next year? Peyton Turner, is he going to be healthy enough? Are Cameron Jordan and Carl Granderson your only healthy edge rushers? So if that's the case, you're going to have to invest in that position. They have no defensive tackles under contract presently going into 2023, though they extended the deadline with David Onyemata to hopefully facilitate and get that done. But as of right now, they don't have anybody because Jordan Jackson's now a Denver Bronco. And so with all that in mind, that's probably the spots where they're, paying the most attention. But obviously, you need to continue to look at the offensive line, which, continues to kind of delve into its depth year after year.
How'd the LSU guys do?
Ali Gay had a huge play, a couple of big moments in one-on-ones as well, but his kind of standout moment was during the game where he won very quickly around the edge to start or early on in order to be able to get a sack in live game. Jay Ward was an interesting one to watch. He struggled a bit in coverage, but we're talking about one-on-ones here, which are usually leveraged pretty well against the defensive player. Didn't see any kind of big flashes out of him for the most part. Probably did see a couple of pass breakups, some moments where he was able to get involved in that as well. I think, though, Ali Gay is maybe the one of the two LSU Tigers that were present that had kind of the best overall week, which is great because that edge rushing class is really, really good here in 2023. So you have to be able to separate yourself, and I think Ali Gay did himself some favors.
If you are not subscribed to Locked On Saints, what's wrong with you? He's
what is wrong with you?
he's Ross Jackson on Twitter at Ross Jackson Nola. You get his stuff at Saints Wire as well. Hey, man, always appreciate a couple of minutes. Great work. Thank you for the time.
Appreciate you, buddy. Always a pleasure. Take care, stay safe, and I'll talk to you soon.
All right, man. We'll see you. Good stuff there by Ross. Dynamite job with hitting the beeps. Do you still have the thing from Maddie on the beep thing? With,
you mean like the counter that we had for it, or
just like the thing when she was hitting the phone? Didn't we
No, I think she clipped it and put it on her social media. I don't think we clipped it.
Oh, I thought we edited it all together. Anyway, it's dynamic. You can find it. I don't remember when it was. It was some point during the season. Maybe we could look for it. That'd be good. Okay, we could look for it. We could put it in Muse. We could look for it, and we could find it.
Yeah.
Not just look for it. Let's find it, and let's put it in the folder for our Friday.
For deep cuts.
Our deep cuts. Right. We'll bury that somewhere, and we'll dig it up like a time capsule in 10 years and play it on the air. Okay, it's after further review. Thanks to Ross. Thanks to Stewart Mandel, Tim Brando in 30 minutes from right now. We're brought to you by Shaw Bills Tire and Auto Service. ShawBillsTire.com, bumper-to-bumper auto service, and name brand tires at wholesale prices. You know where to find them. Shaw Bills, which is the home of the Charlie's Dozen. That is a dozen benefits extended to every vehicle in your family when you buy tires at Shaw Bills, from free tire repair to free balancing to free tire rotations. At Shaw Bills, they treat you like family because they have been family-owned and operated since they opened their door back more than 50 years ago. It's at Shaw Bills, ShawBillsTire.com. Check them out, learn more, shop promotions online, name brand tires at wholesale prices, and they always treat you like family at Shaw Bills, where we keep you rolling. All right, been a good show so far, man. We are halfway home on this Monday. Hope you're driving home. If you are driving home right now, hope you're safe on that journey. We will get to an NFL mock draft, a post-Senior Bowl mock draft up at ESPN.com. That's coming up in the next hour as well. I think you'll be interested to see what the Saints do. It's a 2-round mock. So we'll talk about what they have the Saints doing with both picks that they have in the top 2 rounds. They're at 30 or 29, I guess, and 40. So we'll get to that coming up in the next hour. All right, we're glad to have you aboard with us. We'll knock out a quick break. Tiger Baseball, we're scrimmaging this past weekend. Some takeaways from that. We'll get to that next. AFR.
AFR.
Love telling you about Clegg's Nursery with 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area. And y'all, this is the time. It is time to just plant something. Get on out in the garden. Great to do with the whole family if you want to get the kids involved as well. You want to get them out of the house, away from the screens, and do something that's just fun for the family and get you outside, get your hands in the dirt. Just plant something from Clegg's Nursery. They got great selection with new shipments arriving daily at Clegg's of different flowers and bedding plants that love this cool weather right now. And we're getting up to 71 degrees today, but it was cold this morning. It'll be 55 tonight. I mean, new shipments of plants are arriving almost daily. So get on out and just plant something. Also want to remind you, if you're starting to notice weeds in your lawn, Clegg's can help with that. Stop into any of the Clegg's locations. Ask about their lawn weed cocktail that'll knock out those weeds before they really take hold. It's at Clegg's Nursery. Get by any of the 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area. Buy local, shop local at Clegg's Nursery.
Cornell Toyota in Opelousas is here to help you ring in the new year with no markups, and you'll never pay over MSRP. And we have new inventory arriving daily. So Happy New Year from our Cornell Toyota family to yours.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
Saturday, February 25th, 7 p.m. The Bulls Bands and Barrels Tour at the Lamar Dixon Expo Center. Presented by Jerry Lane Chevrolet. Edge of your seat excitement with bull riding, barrel racing, ultimate bullfighting with a live performance by Bailey Zimmerman. With Timothy Wayne, plus two-time PBR world champion Chris Shivers, and Brinson James, the entertainer. Tickets and information at bullsbandsandbarrels.com. Saturday, February 25th, Lamar Dixon Expo Center at 7 p.m. Presented by Jerry Lane Chevrolet, the #1 Chevrolet dealer in Louisiana.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Thanks again to Ross Jackson for joining us. Remember, if you miss anything, AFR On Demand presented by Brett Golf. You can get any of the shows, audio or video. The video will be on our Watch 104.5 ESPN YouTube channel. Audio, however you get your podcast, just search After Further Review, and you'll see it right there. Please subscribe up. We appreciate you for being with us. Couple of some interaction here. An email from Warren who said, Matt, can Lindsey Scott play in the NFL? Is he a draftable prospect or a free agent? Could be a poor man's Drew Brees. So Lindsey Scott, who just finished a I don't know, rare, if not altogether unique, 7-year college journey. So started LSU back in 2016. I mean, he showed up at LSU a year before Miles Brennan, and he just finished his LSU career, which is stunning to think. But congrats to Lindsey Scott on what ended up being a long, winding journey, but has wrapped up. And he is, after the 7th year in college at Incarnate Word, is looking to make a run at the NFL. He participated, I want to say it was in the NFLPA Bowl. I'm pretty sure it was the NFLPA Bowl. It was one of the postseason bowl invites, like the Senior Bowl, but a different one. Participated in that out in at the Rose Bowl a couple of weekends ago. But Lindsey Scott's one of those guys that at this point where you're talking about a guy that's 24 years old already, and because of age and how long he's been in school, he may, and his stature, he's listed at 5'11". He may not be a draftable prospect, but there may be a team throughout this whole process that falls in love with him and says, we're going to take a shot on this guy who's a great athlete, who's a winner, who is a great communicator on field and off, so you could see why he would be a leader in the locker room and might be a guy that teams would love to have in their locker room. And so, the challenging thing when you get later in the draft is always if you pass on a guy in the draft and think, okay, well, I'll sign him as an undrafted free agent, you're competing, and you lose the leverage because that player can choose to sign with whomever they want, remember. So this happened. This is the most obvious example that I always remember as it pertains to the Saints. It was with Daniel Lasco, if you remember. Daniel Lasco was a guy that the Saints took, I believe, in the 7th round. And can you please look up what year that was? Just search Daniel Lasco. Tell me what year that was. He was a running back. I'm almost positive it was from Cal. I think I got this right. But he was a guy that the Saints loved and wanted in a special teams role and a backup running back role. They knew he could block, he could catch, he was a versatile back, but he was a really good specialist as well in all the different special teams units. So, but because the Saints were kind of loaded at running back, they had Ingram and Kamara, and they were loaded at that spot. They knew there was no way Daniel Lasco was going to pick them. Do you have it? What year was it?
2016.
So Kamara was drafted in 17, so it was actually a year before Kamara was drafted. There was someone else. Ingram was there. The Saints had I don't remember exactly who was in the running back room. Sometimes the years run together. But can you pull up Saints 2016 and see who else was there? Now I'm just curious. But it was one of those situations where there was no way this guy was going to choose to sign with the Saints. So they used a 7th-round pick. They didn't necessarily need a running back, but they liked the player, so they took him. And that way he didn't have a choice. And so it may be interesting with Lindsey Scott, too, where if there's a team that goes through the whole draft process and let's say they fall in love with him, they do the interviews, they like the player, they want to bring him in, he's a winner, he's a leader, he's all those things that we've all seen from Lindsey from the time he was right here at Zachary, winning the state championship and then signing with LSU and winning a national championship at East Mississippi and going into the FCS playoffs. There may be a team that says, I just want that guy in my building to see if we have something here. And maybe there's a late round flyer on Lindsey. But I think the success of guys like Breeze or like Russell Wilson, shorter quarterbacks, I think does lend an opportunity to a guy like Lindsey, whereas in year past they might just naturally get overlooked. Do you have it?
Yeah, so they had Mark Ingram, Traveris Cadet, Tim Hightower, and Marcus Murphy.
So Marcus Murphy was a 7th-round pick as well, out of Missouri the year before.
Yes.
He was returning kicks and everything. Alaska was a 7th-rounder?
Alaska was a 7th-rounder.
Yeah, so it was one of those things where they wanted the guy on the team, but they knew that they were loaded at that position, and he wouldn't have signed with them. And so they pulled the trigger in the draft. So anyway, a good question. I appreciate it. You're always welcome to fire away. You can email us, Matt at 1045ESPN.com. You can tweet the show at Matt Moscona.
Hey, Twitter world.
You can always jump in the Bayou Ford YouTube chat on the Watch 1045 ESPN YouTube channel. Or you can text in the 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. Lots of ways you can get involved in the show. I want to talk about Christian Little here let's do it right now. LSU baseball scrimmaged over the weekend, and Christian Little, the Vanderbilt transfer, made some comments when he met with the media that caught my attention, caught a lot of people's attention. He was asked, coming in from Vanderbilt, sort of the differences between Vanderbilt and coming into LSU, where he's working with Wes Johnson, the pitching coach, who we all now know the story was an awesome pitching coach at Arkansas and was hired away by the Minnesota Twins and was their major league pitching coach, and then left in the middle of last season to join Jay Johnson's staff at LSU. Here's what Christian Little said now, having had an experience at an elite SEC program at Vanderbilt and coming now to another elite program and working with Wes Johnson.
It's definitely a 180. I feel like at Vanderbilt is a very big do what you can do to be successful, and they'll help you in your ass. But he goes out of his way, makes big pushes to be able to make us better, whether we're where we want to be or not. At the end of the day, we all have potential, and none of us have reached our potential, and he's helping us get to where we need to be. Oh, sorry.
To hear him say that it's a 180 is a little staggering. Like, we've all heard rave reviews about Wes Johnson, and that's awesome. And I mean, I've shared with you I've reminded you, I guess I should say, what Skip Bertman said on this show. He said he's the best pitching coach he's ever been around. Which, it's a mouthful coming from Skip Bertman, who sat right here to my left and said that on this air. But it's pretty validating when you have a guy who was at Vanderbilt, which is churned out first rounders over the last 15 years there with Tim Corbin, and to say it's a 180 here as opposed to there it's very validating. And another reason why a lot of people are excited about what the staff is going to do. Muse went out to the box a couple of days this weekend. Muse, what did you think getting to watch Christian Little pitch this weekend?
It was interesting, man. He used the secondary stuff a lot. It was a lot of slider, a lot of changeup. Those are the two pitches he threw most, which is surprising because, the guy can throw 95 with the fastball, right?
That's what we all kind of become infatuated with, right, is the velo.
Exactly. But he even has a curveball that he'll just flip in there for a get-me-over strike. He pitched well. The 3 runs there in 4 innings is fine, but he bookended with 3 up, 3 down innings, and the runs kind of came in a different way. Stevenson got him on a 2-out single, battled him, punched the ball through the left side. And then they manufactured a run. Ethan Fry led off with a double. Milazzo sacked him over, and Cruz hit a ground out that scored him. So it's not that he didn't pitch bad. They just kind of LSU's lineup did what LSU's lineup's going to do to a lot of people.
Yeah, to a lot of good pitchers.
Yes.
And we did learn it is, in fact, Ethan Fry.
Yes, it is Ethan Fry.
Not Frey.
No.
Courtesy of Leah Van, who asked Ethan's mother, who confirmed that it is, in fact, Fry. So we are going – listen, Mama calls him Fry, I'm going to call him Fry. That's what it is. So LSU had their scrimmages this weekend. The other thing that I noticed, I guess, on Twitter from some of the folks out there, I think it might have been Demouy who tweeted about it, was about Garrett Edwards. And I had heard that Edwards was spinning the ball mid-upper 90s. And remember, Edwards is a guy that sort of long, elaborate delivery. Tall kid, lanky, out of Pitkin, and to see a jump in velo that significant year to year is uncommon, to say the least. But I think that's also very validating of the way that Wes Johnson works with his pitchers. That's the thing you hear. It's always about efficiency and motion, and almost like a swimmer, right? Like when you're talking about tenths of a second difference, how efficient you are with each stroke matters. Same with a runner, a sprinter. And it's almost the same concept with how Wes Johnson teaches pitching, which it's exciting, man. It's going to, I know we've hyped this team a bunch, and we're still, a week from Friday, a little less than 2 weeks away from first pitch. And the season's long. It's 56 games, and we're not even close to June. But it's the most anticipation people have had for a baseball season here in a long time. And that's saying something, because we always have anticipation for baseball. But I think there's this general understanding that what we're watching right now could be pretty special, considering the compilation of talent and returning players, transfer players, coaching opportunity, all of it there. It could be just a really, really fun fall or a spring, I should say. And I'll remind you, this Friday we are going to be out at Rouse's in Denham. Bregman will be there. He's launching a whole new line of Breggy Bomb products statewide in Rouse's. So AFR and Hunt Palmer show from Rouse's in Denham this Friday. So we'll be live from 1 to 6. We'll invite you to come on out. You meet Bregman. He'll be out there. They'll have tons of free food and all that stuff. And then next Friday, for the opener, on Friday the 17th, if you're not going to be at the box and you're looking for something to do, we will be at the Renaissance Hotel. You've been hearing a great new sponsor. You've been hearing me talk about Tallulah, which is the restaurant and bar inside of the Renaissance. So they're going to have screens and all kind of fun stuff. We do tons of giveaways and drink specials and all that. So if you're looking for a place to watch the season opener on Friday the 17th, come join me and whoever else wants to come by at Tallulah inside the Renaissance Hotel right there in Bluebonnet. So we're looking forward to that. Okay, it's after further review. We'll knock out our final break here of hour number 2. Tim Brando in about 15 minutes from right now. Don't you move. It's AFR.
AFR.
I started kind of spreading the word on this last week, and the response has been pretty incredible. New Orleans Flooring tell you they keep their inventory in stock, so that way you can buy it today and they can install it tomorrow if you want. But that also allows them to cut out the middleman and give you great pricing. Well, there's great pricing, and then there's just super duper absurd pricing, and that's what's happening right now. So because they are bringing in this year's inventory and this year's colors, they have to sell last year's colors, so they're discounting even further than they already have. You can get flooring for as low as $1.79 per square foot right now at New Orleans Flooring. So they're in Metairie and then on Airline Highway in Prairieville. Yes, New Orleans Flooring on Airline Highway in Prairieville. So if you're going south on Airline in Prairieville, you pass the Walmart, it's on the right, you can't miss it. Or you can always go online to nolaflooring.com. That's nolaflooring.com. Great items at great prices. nolaflooring.com.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $8,500 off new 2022 Ram 1500s. New 2022 Ram 1500 trucks on our lot now with $8,500 off MSRP. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Wrapping up hour number 2. We're glad you're with us. Tim Brando in about 10 minutes from right now. We did talk last week about the issue going on with the naming of Dale Brown Court and primarily one member of the LSU Board of Supervisors trying to undo that. And the governor is completely kowtowing to her, Mary Werner. So Tim Brando has been very outspoken about it, and I want to have him on the show to talk about it. So we'll do that coming up in about 10 minutes. So glad you're with us. Right now, we do it every day about this time. Let's go around the SEC. Nope, that's not what we're doing. My bad. Muso has Tigers in the pros. Sorry, that's the wrong setup. Wrong setup. It's Monday. Case of the Mondays.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold.
How you like me now?
They're just really rich now. Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, where Baton Rouge gets engaged.
I mean, I just went back in time an hour and 20 minutes.
You did. You did.
In my mind, I did.
Kansas City Chiefs play the Super Bowl on Sunday against the Philadelphia Eagles.
I know where we're going, Muse. I'm ready.
You know exactly where we're going.
I'm ready.
In a corresponding move
Give it to me.
To sending Mecole Hardman to injured reserve,
Give it to me.
The Kansas City Chiefs
Let's go.
Have activated Clyde Edwards-Helaire off of injured reserve. Let's go. Our guy's back in the running. Clyde has been on injured reserve after missing the last 9 games with an ankle injury. But he's back in there. He'll join Isaiah Pacheco, Jerick McKinnon, and Ronald Jones in the backfield.
They're all bums. Feed Clyde. Are you kidding me?
Give the ball to Clyde.
What did he say after Bama? Throw your heart across the line and the ball will follow. Let's go, Clyde. Go get you one.
That was when he carried a grown human 10 yards for a first down.
That was so good.
On 3rd and 10.
That was so good.
It was awesome.
And he caught the ball off his foot, too.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like unbelievable.
Like literal shoestring catch. So good.
Say it with me, Muse.
I will not. That's your thing.
It's your thing. It's a Clyde thing.
That's your shtick.
Why do you hate Clyde?
I don't.
Why do you hate
love
Clyde? You clearly hate Clyde.
That's a lie.
No, it is a shame how much you hate him.
Cam Thomas, did you see this Saturday night?
I did.
My goodness. 29 minutes. How about 44 points?
Kyrie who?
For Cam. Yeah, don't need that guy. Get him. Send him to Dallas. Goes without saying, career high for Cam Thomas there with the 44. 16 of 23 shooting. He was 4 of 5 from 3. He added 5 rebounds and 5 assists, but who cares? He had 44 points.
That's pretty crazy.
Nuts. Trendon Watford had 11 in a Trailblazers loss to the Bulls. That came in 22 minutes. 11 points on just 5 shots for Trendon. When you nail 2 threes, that'll do it. 2 rebounds and 3 assists rounded out his night. Tari Eason for the Houston Rockets. He had 18 points on just 11 shots. The former Tigers were balling this weekend in the NBA, y'all. 8 rebounds for Tari as well, so just missed out on a double-double. The Rockets took it on the chin once again. Naz Reid last night for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Trying to find him. There he is. He had 7 points in the game, 15 minutes, shot 3 of 3 from the floor, 2 rebounds and a block, rounded out his night. And if you were still watching at the end of the Pelicans game, Garrett Temple got 5 minutes.
Give me Graf.
Was 1 for 1 on the 3.
Where's Graf?
Here's Graf.
Right angle 3. He got a GT for 3. That's what they call an exclamation point in the business.
Yeah.
That's Tigers in the Pros.
Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com. Gents, today is February the 6th. You have 8 days. You have 8 days until Valentine's. Don't screw it up. Get her a gift from Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Sure to make you a hero and her thrilled. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. 2 locations in Baton Rouge, corporate in Bocage, and in the Mall of Louisiana, or online at lmfj.com. For Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. All right, Sports Center coming up. Tim Brando right after the top of the hour. Buckle up. He's going to light the fuse.
AFR.
Hey, our Monday shows, of course, are brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com and have been for just years. Brandon and Adrian Holly are amazing people who have been great partners of ours here at Relief Windows for, almost a decade now. I could not speak highly enough of them, the quality of work they do, the quality of people that they are, and the people that they have working for them at Relief Windows. I tell you all the time, energy-efficient replacement windows, beautiful entry doors, hardy plank, vinyl siding. If you want to beautify the exterior of your home, there's just nobody better. They have the best products and the best people, and all of their work comes with a lifetime warranty on labor, material, and glass breakage. So 20 years from now, your grandkids are throwing the ball out in the yard and ball breaks through the window, no worries. Call Relief Windows. They'll come replace it for free. It's Relief Windows. 288-8138. 288-8138 or ReliefWindows.com. Windows, door, siding. ReliefWindows.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
I've got that blue sky, I've got that sunshine.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, anytime. Hunt Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Saturday, February 25th, 7 p.m. The Bulls, Bands, and Barrels Tour at the Lamar Dixon Expo Center. Presented by Jerry Lane Chevrolet. Edge of your seat excitement with bull riding, barrel racing, ultimate bullfighting with a live performance by Bailey Zimmerman. With Timothy Wayne, plus 2-time PBR world champion Chris Shivers and Brinson James, the entertainer. Tickets and information at bullsbandsandbarrels.com. Saturday, February 25th, Lamar Dixon Expo Center at 7 p.m. Presented by Jerry Lane Chevrolet, the #1 Chevrolet dealer in Louisiana.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, Hudco can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call Hudco Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
Toyota in Opelousas is here to help you ring in the new year with no markups, and you'll never pay over MSRP. And we have new inventory arriving daily. So Happy New Year from our Corvell Toyota family to yours.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. NFL fans will have to wait another year for Tom Brady in the broadcast booth. The recently retired quarterback told Fox's The Herd with Colin Cowherd he'll begin his role as a broadcaster with Fox during the 2024 NFL season. Chiefs running back Clyde Edwards-Helaire, activated from injured reserve, is eligible to play in Super Bowl 57. In a corresponding move, Kansas City receiver Mecole Hardman placed on IR. Kyrie Irving in Dallas today for his physical with the Mavericks, a day after the blockbuster trade from Brooklyn. The Nets need to use the picks they acquired in that deal to improve their roster ahead of Thursday's deadline, advises Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max co-host Jay Williams.
Frankly, I think if you're Kevin Durant, you're looking at this as an evaluation year. You're saying, hey, look, I took my extension. I am here. Is this team moving in the right direction? Do we feel like I trust in Sean Marks and Joe Tsai to help me win a championship? And by the end of the year, if you don't have better clarity on where that is, you can ask for a trade.
Jay Williams on Greeny. Durant, who asked the Nets for a trade last summer, is under contract through the 2025-2026 season.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. At Progressive, they're making things even easier. They'll help you bundle your home and car insurance together so you can save on both. Learn more at Progressive.com or 1-800-PROGRESSIVE.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
Musso. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you are driving home with us. In about 15 minutes, we'll get to a 2-round mock draft coming out of the Senior Bowl with some interesting selections for the Saints' 2 picks in the top 40. That's coming up. Always a pleasure when we get a few minutes with our friend Tim Brando, who, as many of you I'm sure may know now, has been quite outspoken since last week. Jeffrey Marks was here. We spoke about the possible renaming of Dale Brown Court, and Tim and I have been texting and talking, and I wanted to welcome on air. So, Tim, we appreciate the time as always. How are you?
I'm good. I'm a little bit less sorrowful and a little more pissed, which should make for a great 10 to 11 minutes here. So let's go.
I told the audience before the top of the hour that I was about to light the fuse, and we'd see it go boom. What can you just update us on what you may know is the latest of all of the goings on here?
Well, on Friday, which was the day after you had Jeffrey in there for an hour, I heard from some of my sources that the school president had sent some word to Ms. Werner that maybe it was not the right time. Maybe they should table this for a period. But by Saturday night, that had changed. So they are going forward. and they will put this asinine resolution on the docket, and they will make fools out of themselves for all of America to see, and the bloodletting within Louisiana will begin. And the fans and the people on either side of whatever your political persuasion may be will have a huge dog and cat fight, and we'll all look really stupid. And that is really what's going to happen here when leadership is of no influence and has a negative impact. And that's what we have here. Everyone in a position of power is exercising his or her power, but they're not doing anything to influence or impact in a positive way.
Is there any... Actually, I'm going to ask you a different question first, because I think there is some confusion. If there's one bit of pushback I've heard is, who really cares whose name is on a floor?
Well, that's actually quite understandable. I get that. In the grand scheme of things, this should not be that important. What happened on January the 4th did happen. Don't tell me that I didn't see it. Don't tell me that, don't deceive my lying eyes. I mean, I know that dedication took place. I know the house was pretty much full, which, by the way, very rarely is for LSU basketball, but it was that night. And I know what the vote was on September the 10th. Okay, and I know how many times I spoke over the last 5 years to the board. Once when Miss Werner was chairman in Alexandria. This was done with all the proper protocols. And, Dale had nothing to do with it. He didn't ask for this. It was bestowed upon him. My only regret, and I think I can probably speak for the handful of people that really pushed hard on this for the last 5 years, I feel somehow responsible, and I really do feel somehow responsible for how he's hurting right now. And trust me, he's hurting. So is his family. Vonnie is, Robin is. His grandsons who are in basketball coaching that were all there that night, they are.
Tim, is there anything at this point that you feel will stop the vote on Friday, or is there anyone that can get through to either the governor or William Tate to prevent this from moving forward?
Well, listen, we're doing the best we can to hit the media hard. I'm making the rounds. I'm going to be on Moon Griffon tomorrow. Jeffrey's made a few hits. The publisher, Trent Andrews, has made a few appearances. Jim Inkster's done all that he can do. Dick Vitale, as you know, said what he said, came back with a clarification to make sure that Governor Edwards knew where he was coming from. Did that, I think, today. Can more be done? Yes. Senator Kennedy has been alerted in Washington, and he's busy with a lot of other things that are a lot more important, but I know that, he's gotten to some extent involved. I would love to see, my favorite Democrat, I would love to see it. I just got through texting him. I would love to see my favorite Democrat, James Carville, call up Governor Edwards and say, hey, man, what's going on with all this woke crap that you guys are putting on Dale Brown? Of all people, why would you do that now? I mean, that's the way. That's Jim's. that's Carville's vernacular, and he's spoken about it. That aspect of his party that he loathes. So I've contacted him and said, "Hey, man, how about a little help?
Yeah,
I'd like to see that." I've also texted Shaq. I think Shaq could have a tremendous influence here if he just made a private call. I don't think he'll ever do anything publicly, because when you're that big of a celebrity and there are that many people that are impacted and you're working for a company like the one he works for, it can be dangerous to make public pronouncements. But I think Shaq, he may have already made contact. I don't know. But I certainly corresponded with him in the past when we were in the midst of doing all this, well over a year ago, before it happened on September the 10th of 2021. So, whether he's made a call, I don't know, but I certainly asked him to. You're asking me, what would I like to see? That's what I'd like to see. I'd like to see people that I know care as much as I care, Democrat or Republican, liberal or conservative, black, white, Jew, Gentile, you name it. We're all what? We're all from Louisiana. We all care about our state, its image. and in many cases have a love affair with the flagship university. Whether you went to the school or not, you do have a love affair with LSU athletics. To save them from themselves. Help me, help you, Governor. You are making a huge mistake. Help me, help you, President Tate. You were smiling, clapping, and you were at the dinner on the 3rd at TJ Ribs, and you made a choice to put this on Coach Brown on his birthday. You made the choice to have him be your buffer because you didn't want to deliver bad news. Leaders need to be able to deliver bad news. And Governor Edwards, why didn't that luncheon that you had with the 5 or 6 board members, why didn't that also include Coach Brown? Or why didn't you actually have that lunch or that breakfast with Coach Brown? Help me, help you. That's what I'd like to see some of the other Louisianians that are passionate, that care about Louisiana, its image, and LSU in particular. That's what I'd like to see.
A couple more for you, Tim. Tim Brando is our guest. I know no doubt that there are some people, Tim, that are, I'm 40. There's people younger than me that won't remember when who are listening right now that won't remember when Coach Brown coached or.
Well, let me interrupt you real quick on that, okay? Because I hear that, the generational aspect of it. I'm going to tell you something that I was told by my mentor in broadcasting years ago, the great Kurt Gowdy, who, by the way, I'm sure many in your listenership don't know a damn thing about. Here's what I would tell you, and here's what I'd tell them. Just because it happened before you were born doesn't make it any less significant. And this to you, Ms. Werner, as you go after the old white man, saying that, well, at this day and time, not having an old white woman next to him doesn't make any sense. I'm sorry. Check the record on what Dale Brown did for minorities, for women, for the American Indian, and I could go on and on. You're going after the wrong old white man. That's what I'd say.
You know, and I get the sense, Tim, it's not even I don't even know that this is Mary Werner just going after Dale Brown so much as just he just happens to be the guy.
It's the progressive politics that she's pushing, and because her daddy bankrolled both campaigns for the governor, she holds his keys, and he knows that. Whether he runs for another political office or he decides to start his own private sector law office. Okay? That's what this is. These are backroom dealings, political favors that make up the history of this state going all the way back to the Great Depression and the Long Era. And the more things change, the more they stay the same. The names may be different, but the roles played by everyone involved politically have never changed.
Tim, before you go, I'm sure you've spoken to Coach Brown at some point. If this vote does pass and they do amend the name of the court, what does he do?
I have no idea. Now, that's the saddest part. Here's a guy from North Dakota that came here, settled here, brought the greatest success that any coach had ever brought to a sport to this state. And upon his leaving the position, he chose to stay and continue to help the university. I mean, the university has turned to him countless times for help, and he's always been there to provide that help. I get such a kick out of those saying what they do about, forget the records of the two coaches involved and the dumbing down of the conversation about whether it's deserved or not deserved or any of that other stuff. The reality is it happened, it was done, and seemingly taking it away and changing it to code names, which no other floor in America has it. And by the way, for those fools that think they're in media, that have their own YouTube channels that say, oh, I'm sorry, if you're owning a national championship, then you shouldn't have it named after you. Guess what? You want me to name all the guys that have floors named after them that never won a championship? Dick Vitale, by the way, got to the second round of the NCAAs, almost beat Michigan. Detroit Mercy the University of Detroit has his name on the floor. He won a national title. Gene Katie won 6 Big Ten titles, never went to a Final Four. He's got a name. Bobby Crimmins got to the Final Four one time. Georgia Tech's his name. I can go on and on about it. But the reality is, bottom line, it's not just about wins and losses, Matt, and titles. It's about your influence, your impact. How did you affect those in your community and surrounding area? And in Dale's case, my God, the country. Okay? He's gone around and followed the likes of Nelson Mandela, preaching to people about making our world a better place. Okay, Dr. Harry Edwards knows that. Why the hell doesn't Mary Warner? And why the hell doesn't the governor of our own state who went to West Point? It is a travesty what is being done to him. That's the issue. Not about Sue Gunter versus Dale Brown. I mean, it's just out of control. And we should be smarter than that at this stage of our lives, especially if you're a leader. And when I say leader, the president of that university is one, and he's been proven to be a hypocrite. And the governor of our state just doesn't want to deal with anything bad. And then has his spokesperson come out and lie to you and lie to everybody else about the meeting that he wanted, not the meeting that the board members wanted, the meeting he wanted. Because his wife believes that Dee Dee Bro and Mary Warner have a greater clue on things than everybody else. That's it? Really? I'm done with it. I am fed up. I am pissed. I am mad. And somebody needs to get that way to save us from us. Because when this happens on Friday, if indeed it does, there will be egg on the face of a lot of people, including that board and others within it that were very influential. And you can rest assured that more names are going to fly. More people will be outed, and there's no reason for it.
Tim, we'll stay in touch this week, and I guess we'll all see what transpires. But we appreciate the time as always, and your candor. We'll visit soon.
You got it, pal.
All right. Be well. Tim Brando. We'll continue, and we'll react. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Pluckers, Nicholson, Bluebonnet. Dine-in, carry-out, or delivery. I want to remind you, y'all, of course, Sunday, Super Sunday, everybody eats wings for the Super Bowl. Everybody does. So you can get your order in now at either Pluckers location. You can call either location, or you can go to the website and place your order and designate not only what your order is, but what time you want to pick it up on Sunday. So based on what time you have people coming over, what time the game is, you can go to the website, Pluckers. You can choose the Pluckers.com, choose the location in Baton Rouge, either the Bluebonnet or the Nicholson location, and place your order online for Super Bowl Sunday for your whole order. So you're having a whole bunch of people over. I mean, don't wait till an hour before the game and call and order like 200 wings. That ain't a great practice. But they can get those orders in all this week at Pluckers. Monday, all-you-can-eat wings at Pluckers. If you like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
Cornell Toyota in Opelousas is here to help you ring in the new year with no markups, and you'll never pay over MSRP. And we have new inventory arriving daily. So Happy New Year from our Corvell Toyota family to yours.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it, They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
Saturday, February 25th, 7 p.m. The Bulls Bands and Barrels Tour at the Lamar Dixon Expo Center. Presented by Jerry Lane Chevrolet. Edge of your seat excitement with bull riding, barrel racing, ultimate bullfighting. With a live performance by Bailey Zimmerman. With Timothy Wayne, plus two-time PBR world champion Chris Shivers, and Brinson James, the entertainer. Tickets and information at bullsbandsandbarrels.com. Saturday, February 25th, Lamar Dixon Expo Center at 7 p.m. Presented by Jerry Lane Chevrolet, the #1 Chevrolet dealer in Louisiana.
Moon Griffon is back, the voice of Louisiana politics.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Thanks again to Tim Brando for joining us. There's two things that I want to address real quickly with respect to the naming of the court. There are some people who said it's a name on a court, who cares? If you feel that way, that's fine. I'm not saying that you have to have an emotional stance one way or another on whose name is on the court. What is at issue is not Dale Brown's resume or Sue Gunter's resume or anything along those lines. The bottom line is, through the stated process outlined by LSU, the Board of Supervisors voted to name the court in honor of Dale Brown. They also, because of a amendment posed by board member Mary Werner, who's at the center of a lot of this, a year ago, voted against co-naming the court. So again, the Board of Supervisors voted against co-naming and approved naming it after Dale Brown. They have the ceremony, his name's on the court, all that stuff. And a year later, Mary Werner never stops pushing, and is because, as Tim Brando said, she is hit her father, who was a wealthy politician in the state, bankrolled John Bel Edwards campaigns. She has a lot of influence on the governor and kept pressuring him to do this, to change it and to co-name it after Sue Gunter. And it's nothing more than what Tim said. It's a push for equality, or whatever term you want to use. Tim used wokeism. I'm not a political person. I really don't care about all that. And this, honestly, is one of the reasons I don't care at all about politics, because of things just like this. And Tim also mentioned, so like the point, I keep trying to draw an analogy that would resonate. Like, imagine if next December the Heisman Trust goes to Caleb Williams and says, hey, look, I know we voted last year and you won the Heisman, but we really like Max Duggan a lot, and so we're gonna give him one too for last year. We're gonna have you co-recipients of the award. Like, it's ludicrous. That's a loony idea, but that's essentially the same premise, and it's rooted in nothing more than one rich woman who didn't get her way. And so now she's bitching and moaning and trying to push the governor to do this. And in so doing, you're dishonoring an 87-year-old man who's given 50 years of his life to this state and who was justly honored by an appropriate vote of the Board of Supervisors. And the other thing Tim mentioned, which is so annoying and is so representative of why I hate politics, is this fella, and I don't know him at all. His name is Eric Hole or Hall, I don't know, Holl. And he, on his Twitter profile, he says he's the Deputy Chief of Staff for the governor specializing in communications. So I tweeted last week and encouraged everybody to go share and retweet this post about trying to pressure the governor and President Tate to stand down, to not continue pressing forward with this. Well, the governor's lackey, which is, again, another reason why I just hate politics, because of guys like this, and he may be a hell of a nice guy, but he unfortunately is going right down the path that so many people do in politics, which is why the whole thing disgusts me. He replies to me and says, not entirely accurate. Last year, some board members brought the idea to John Bel Edwards and asked his opinion. He told them he thought it was a good idea since both coaches contributed so much to LSU hoops. That's pretty much it. Not something JBE is spending a ton of time or energy on. This is something that is so flawed, and it is an outright lie. This man is lying. Let me just piece together the logical steps here, okay? Board votes against 12-3 against co-naming. Same board votes 12-3 in favor of Dale Brown Court on the same day. That was in September of last year. 4 months later, they have the ceremony. Here we go. Boom. Less than a year later, you're trying to tell me the same board members who voted against co-naming and in favor of naming it Dale Brown Court, those same board members had this idea and brought it to John Bel Edwards to say, hey, what do you think about this? First of all, Eric, they don't need his permission. The board could just introduce the resolution and pass it if they wanted to do it. They don't need the governor's permission for that. It's just so annoying that you have little nerds like this that lie. It's why the whole process is disgusting and frustrating, and it's nothing but political pandering, and it just sucks. It sucks so bad that one rich woman, Mary Werner, didn't get her way. She's pissed off and now trying to put every bit of leverage she has on John Bel Edwards, who's too damn weak to tell her to stand down, or that he's just not willing to do the right thing because he's not a good person. I don't know. I don't know him at all. But what I can show you here is evidence of him doing something and continuing on something that is only going to benefit him financially because of this woman's money. And that's a shame, man. You go and you dishonor an 87-year-old man. You drag him into this whole emotional circus for the last 5-6 months, whatever it's been, all because of what? Because you need this woman's money to run a campaign? It's so, I said it last week, I'll say it again. It's the worst part about this state. It's the worst thing about this state. And it has been pervasive. Everyone that we've talked to about this goes, yeah, that's just Louisiana. And we're not moved by it because we're just so accustomed to it in this state forever. Our roads suck. Our schools suck. Our crime sucks. Like, everything sucks. And we're just like, yeah, it's Louisiana. Well, man, we can throw a hell of a party, can't we? Well, we're good at football. Anyway, I get it. I'm not telling everyone listening right now that you should be emotional about whose name is on a court. But there's a process in place. It honored a man who's done a tremendous amount for LSU, for the state, for so many different groups of people. And less than a year later, because one person is throwing a tantrum because she didn't get her way and is pissed off and is pressuring the governor to change this. Now here we are. What would Sue Gunner say? Her name is the one being used in this leverage. She and Dale Brown were very close. What would she say? This woman's been dead almost 20 years. Shame. But it's so typical of our state. And unfortunately, the next generation of lying losers is being bred like whatever his name is. The comms director, yeah. Great. Run out there and lie. Do my bidding. Lie for me to everybody. It's a joke. All right. It's after further review. I told you I wanted to talk about this draft thing, so I'll do it. There's a 2-round mock draft from Matt Miller of ESPN. Post-Senior Bowl, post-trades, all that stuff. A couple of interesting selections for the Saints at 29 and 40. We'll get to that next. It's AFR.
AFR.
Buying or selling, commercial or residential, call Darren James and get your home sold. If you need to sell your home, just call the best. Call Darren James. On the Wall Street Journal's list of the top 1,000 realtors in America, and that's based on the number of homes sold. That's not some type of subjective list. It is based on objective data. If you need results, call the realtor that gets results. Call Darren James. 335-7666, 335-7666, or agent225.com. That's agent225.com. Remember, working with Darren obligates you to nothing. If at any point you're not thrilled, he'll let you out of the contract free and clear. Darren's got so many great programs, like his Love It or Leave It program. Buy a home from Darren. If for whatever reason you have to move out of that home within a year, he'll sell your home for free for his half of the commission. Darren works hard to get you onto whatever is next in life. If you need a realtor, you need Darren James. 335-7666 or agent225.com.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $8,500 off new 2022 Ram 1500s. New 2022 Ram 1500 trucks on our lot now with $8,500 off MSRP. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
If I could bring a moment of levity. We were talking a little bit ago about Lindsey Scott, of course, from Zachary, who just wrapped up his college career. Someone had asked if he's maybe a draftable prospect or a free agent. And Dion Santiago texted the show and said, how's this dude been in the NCAA 7 years, and he's still younger than Stetson Bennett? So it's true. Lindsey Scott's 24, Stetson Bennett's 25. I guess, hey, look, if Stetson Bennett's is worthy of a draft pick, why not Lindsey Scott? You can't throw out the age disclaimer there. All right, it's after further review. Again, I appreciate Tim Brando for joining us, and I know I just kind of went on a little bit of a rant, but it's y'all know me by now, man. I'm nothing if not honest. I don't hold my tongue. You don't always have to agree with me, and that's fine. But I'm looking at the texts and the tweets and the emails coming in, and it's overwhelming. I mean, it's 90% of you all are agreeing with me. I mean, and I just, the thing that I would say, last thing I'll say on this today anyway, is if you are moved by this, the only way that I think it stops or slows is if public pressure weighs on Governor Edwards and President Tate. So use your voice. Facebook, Twitter, email, go get at them and implore them not to do this. Let them know how displeased you are letting one woman, Mary Werner, flip this whole thing on its head. It's terribly sad. I'm gonna tell you my concern. My concern is if they do push this through, Dale Brown says, bleep it, take my name off the court. Then how embarrassing is that? You honor a man, and a year later, you want to talk about being literally on every single national news outlet for the wrong reasons? Let that happen. Something that's supposed to be an honor, something that's supposed to be celebrated, becomes a gigantic embarrassment. How Louisiana. Okay, it's after further review. It is Super Bowl week, y'all. DraftKings, official sports betting partner of the NFL. Fired up for this one, man. They will have all of the prop bets, all of the everything that you want to bet on at the Super Bowl. You can find it at the DraftKings Sportsbook. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Remember, bet just $5 if you're a new customer. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Bet just $5 on the Super Bowl, and they'll give you $200 in free bets instantly. No matter the outcome of the game, just bet $5 on the Super Bowl. They'll give you $200 in free bets. Also, all this week, every day between 6 p.m. and 9 Eastern, so that's between 5 and 8 Central. So right now, they will be unveiling a new prop bet that is boosted every single day this week. So make sure you're going back to the DraftKings Sportsbook app every day this week to see how you get a boosted prop bet at the DraftKings Sportsbook. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use the promo code Baton Rouge. New customers bet just $5 on Super Bowl 57 and get $200 in free bets instantly only at the DraftKings Sportsbook.
21 and older, physically present in Louisiana. Select parishes only. Bonus issued as free bets. Opt-in required for odds boost. Bet type and amount limits vary. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/football terms. Licensing partner Golden Nugget Lake Charles. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 1-800-426-2537.
Muse, what the hell is that? Muse, were you high?
That's our disclaimer.
Were you high when you did that?
That is your voice.
What did you do?
Sped up. Because otherwise it's like a 23-second disclaimer.
Muse, I read those disclaimers every week for the DraftKings spot. Every week. And we speed it up every week. And it never sounds like I just sucked on a whole balloon of helium.
Look, man, I don't know what to tell you. That's how it came out. I mean, I had to take like 10 seconds off of it this time. It's normally not that much.
It's distorted because of that program and this room. Or did you do it downstairs?
No, I did it in here.
I'm telling you, man.
Because when we recorded the spot,
I get it.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't. They're all fast. It would just make me sound like the Micro Machine Man.
I don't know what to tell you. That's how it came out.
I know what to tell you. I know what to tell you is we got to redo that because I don't think we're playing me sucking helium all week for that disclaimer. Holy moly! All right, it's after further review. Otterlock's coming up here in less than 10 minutes from right now. Matt Miller has a mock draft out at ESPN.com. It's a 2-round mock draft. And so this is post-Senior Bowl and post-trades that obviously the Denver sent their first-round pick to New Orleans. So I thought this was a pretty good time to take a look at this mock draft. And it is a 2-round mock, and he does propose trades within the mock draft as well. So if you're scoring at home, he's got the Colts moving up to the number 1 overall pick, trading with Chicago, and taking Bryce Young. He's got the Houston Texans taken Will Levis, number 2. Can you imagine? Like, we can't be on an island here, are we? Like, what is the obsession with Will Levis? Is it the whole he ate a banana with the peel thing? I mean, this is so perplexing to me that he was not an overwhelming guy at Kentucky, yet there's this infatuation with him anyway. Will Anderson to Arizona, Jalen Carter to Chicago, Tyree Wilson out of Texas Tech, 5 to Seattle. Next pick of note, I think, C.J. Stroud going 9 to the Panthers. That would be a hell of a fall for C.J. Stroud if he ends up 9, but that means he would be in the division. They've got the Eagles taking Bijan Robinson 10 with the pick from New Orleans. We'll scroll down a bit. The other quarterback, Anthony Richardson, they have going 16 to Washington. So as you get toward the Saints pick at 29, there's a lot of options on the board in this mock draft, but ultimately Matt Miller has the Saints at 29 taking Georgia Tech defensive end Keon White. So, mentioned about Keon White at the Senior Bowl, impressed, 6'5", 280, very reminiscent size-wise of Cam Jordan, and with the need the Saints have on the defensive line, I would be totally fine with them going defensive line at 29. If it's Keon White, if it's any number of players that would be available at that spot, I mean, we know the biggest need for this team is going to be on that defensive line. Onyemata took a step back. Your run defense plummeted this year. Davenport's likely leaving in free agency. You've got nothing out of Peyton Turner. You've got an aging Cam Jordan. You got to draft defensive line. If it's interior, if it's end, whatever. Into round 2, they've got B.J. Ojulari going 36 to the Rams. So with early in round 2, so that would be a really nice spot for Ojulari if in fact he does end up out in L.A. And then at 40, this is where it's maybe a little perplexing. We talked about how much the Saints need help on the line, and so they have the Saints taking Keon White at 29, but they have the Saints going back to the defensive line at 40 with Tuli Tuipulotu, the defensive tackle out of USC. So, led the NCAA with 13.5 sacks. You're talking about pass rushing interior lineman. You get 2 picks in the top 40 on your defensive line. You very clearly address your greatest position of need. But it would be perplexing, I think, for a lot of Saints fans because we've looked so heavily at maybe a defensive lineman at 29 and maybe Hendon Hooker at 40 for whatever it is worth. Matt Miller has Hendon Hooker coming off the board to Seattle at 52. So, boy, it would be, I think, a tough pill to swallow if you're a Saints fan, if you love Hendon Hooker, and you see him last till 52, and your team doesn't pull the trigger on him. Also of interest is 2 picks later, they have Apu Ika going 54 to the Chargers. So, interestingly enough, the Fahokos and the Ikas are very close. We had Braden here with us last week. It was Braden plays for the Chargers. So, boy, it would be really interesting to see those two reunite in L.A. if it played out that way. But if Ika does plummet all the way to 54, presumably he would be a guy on the board for the Saints. And there's a lot of good players. 1 pick later, they've got Jahmyr Gibbs going 55 to Detroit. So you'd be talking about some great value here in round 2. Keely Ringo, the cornerback from Georgia, who at one time was thought to be a first-round draft pick. They've been going 60 to the Cincinnati Bengals. So draft time is a lot of fun. It's always fun to play the what-if scenarios. But what you're probably going to notice, even if you just scratch off the names consistently, 29 and 40, you're going to see the Saints addressing defensive line because it's just where they've got to go get bodies and immediate impact guys. All right, it is After Further Review. We're brought to you by the Williamson Eye Center, 924-2020, 924-2020, or WilliamsonEye.com. That's WilliamsonEye.com. I was scrolling Facebook over the weekend. I tell you all the time that Dr. Blake goes and presents at conferences all over the country and all over the world. And sure enough, there was a picture of Dr. Blake Williamson on stage at a conference in, where was this? This was in Mexico. The faculty for the Caribbean Eye meeting. He was participating in lectures dedicated to the world's most advanced femtosecond laser platform, as well as microsurgery and glaucoma. My point is, Dr. Blake Williamson is at the forefront of ophthalmology in Louisiana and honestly in the world. Like, he goes all over the world in lectures. That if you're looking at this picture, that's him, bottom left, down there in the corner, with the shirt a little bit unbuttoned and the tan legs showed off as well. I guess when you're in Mexico, you probably like it as well. It's Dr. Blake Williamson at the Williamson Eye Center. If you have ever considered refractive surgery, now is the time. Schedule that consultation with Dr. Blake Williamson at the Williamson Eye Center. 924-2020, 924-2020, or williamsoneye.com. That's Williamson, EYE.com. Okay, it's After Further Review. Been a really good show. We're glad to have you aboard with us here. Thanks so much to Stewart Mandel, who was here last hour. Ross Jackson was talking Senior Bowl last hour. Tim Brando earlier this hour. We did talk about some of the Saints coaching staff changes as well, as it appears as though the Saints have their new defensive coordinator. They've also seen Zach Strief walk out the door. Zach Strief is apparently headed to Denver to join Sean Payton as his offensive line coach. So if you missed anything, AFR On Demand, presented by Brett Golf. Catch it on the Watch 104.5 ESPN YouTube channel or however you get podcasts. Just search After Further Review, and please subscribe up. Okay, it is After Further Review. Honor Locks. We'll find out what we're betting on tonight. That's next on AFR.
AFR.
Man, I love telling you about the Renaissance Hotel and the Watermark. Of course, the Watermark in downtown, the Renaissance in Southtown, right there on Bluebonnet. I want to challenge you. I really want to challenge you. This week, go to lunch at Tallulah in the Renaissance Hotel. It's fast. It's affordable. It's delicious. This bypass drive-through. Bypass the same places you go all the time. Look, right across the street, they got like those chain restaurants right there, across the mall. Go to the Renaissance Hotel. In the lobby is Tallulah. It is casual, upscale dining. You can get there. The burger at Tallulah might be the best burger in town. You can get it for $10 at lunch. It's incredible. It's affordable. It tastes great. It's Tallulah inside of the Renaissance Hotel. Explore it. Discover Tallulah inside of the Renaissance Hotel. Right there on Bluebonnet in Baton Rouge. It's the Renaissance Hotel and the Watermark downtown.
Saturday, February 25th, 7 p.m. The Bulls, Bands, and Barrels Tour at the Lamar Dixon Expo Center. Presented by Jerry Lane Chevrolet. Edge of your seat excitement with bull riding, barrel racing, ultimate bullfighting. With a live performance by Bailey Zimmerman. With Timothy Wayne. Plus two-time PBR World Champion Chris Shivers. And Brinson James, the Entertainer. Tickets and information at bullsbandsandbarrels.com. Saturday, February 25th. Lamar Dixon Expo Center at 7 p.m. Presented by Jerry Lane Chevrolet. The #1 Chevrolet dealer in Louisiana.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Down the stretch we come, final segment here on a Monday edition of AFR presented by Relief Windows. One thing left to do. Let's find out what we're betting on tonight. Time for Otter Locks.
Otter Locks, presented by Lofton Staffing Services. At Lofton, we put people to work. Call us today at 924-0200 or go to lofton.jobs.
So we turn to the one and only, the incomparable and often incomprehensible, the Ott father himself, Jimmy Ott. Otter, how are you?
Good, Matt. How about you?
I'm doing very well. Appreciate it as always. How was the weekend?
Weekend was good. Congratulations to my son. He got inducted to the National Honor Society.
Okay.
I mean, just I said that. I guess it's this is kind of a big deal. I mean, you're a chip off the old block.
I was going to say he got all of the smarts in the family.
Listen, it's doubling my GPA. I told her, so you got to triple it. No, doubling's not good enough. Okay, no big deal, bro.
Oh man, all you got to do is crack a book and you double it. Oh,
Hey,
all right, what are we looking at tonight, man?
Miami and Duke. Duke played in that big win against North Carolina on Saturday night. They win it with emotion behind. Miami, they're coming back home. Miami's a better team. Miami's a better team. The odds makers make home court advantage about 4, maybe 4.5 point difference. I put it at 5 at least, man. I love taking the home teams, especially against brand teams where you know the crowd is going to be juiced up. Larinaga's a better coach than Shire, and Miami's just a better team. It's a rematch from a few Saturdays ago where Miami lost by, I think it was 3 at Cameron Indoor. They'll beat them at home tonight, minus the 3.
All right, Miami laying the 3. Is that your only play tonight?
Yeah, you got the other one, Texas and Kansas. That's a little spot where Kansas is coming off of a loss at Iowa State. Texas is coming off a big, down 14 at Kansas State and came back and won. One of them, I mean, impressive. Really was. I did not see that coming watching the first half. Maybe a spot for Kansas here, but it's not one of my favorite plays.
Okay.
All leans Kansas.
All right,
Yeah.
so we're going to go Miami.
It's a light schedule, man.
Yeah.
Light schedule.
We're going to go Miami, laying the 3 then down there in Coral Gables tonight, as Otter said, by the 0.5 point to get it 3. I'm looking at 3.5 right now on DraftKings. So if you're looking at 3.5, buy that 0.5 point. Someone asked me this weekend, does DraftKings allow you to do that? Yeah, so you click game lines and then alternate spreads, and then you'll see all the alternate spreads that you can buy from. Where are you tonight, Otter?
Big Mike's in Denham Springs, just off the range.
Very cool.
Yes, indeed.
I heard Hanny promote that. He's there with you tonight?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
Me and Charlie are here. We had our first crawfish of the season just now. So.
Okay.
Yes, indeed. Indeed.
It's
So
about
in
that
the
time.
area, come on by and say hello.
All right, Otter is coming up from Big Mike's in Denham. If you're not out there, you can always listen online at 1045ESPN.com or watch with the Game Time with Jimmy Ott Facebook page and get there and get the streaming video as well. All right, Otter, we appreciate you as always, man. Have a great night.
It's all about the you. The you. Let's go, baby.
All right, thank you, Otter. We appreciate it. All right, he just hung up on us. It's after further review. We are brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Energy-efficient replacement windows, beautiful entry doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. They do it all over at Relief Windows. They can basically change the exterior of your home. You want to talk about with hardy plank or vinyl siding in about 2 weeks' time from when you walk in the door, you check out their showroom, you pick out the color of the siding that you want. In 2 weeks' time, it's ordered, it's shipped, it's installed, you're done. It's Relief Windows. Windows door siding, Relief Windows, and reliefwindows.com. All right, just about going to do it for us here on a busy show. If you missed it earlier today, Sean Payton was introduced in Denver today with the Denver Broncos. Talked about working with Russell Wilson. He thanked Saints ownership for the work that they did all together for 16 seasons, and talked about his time at Fox, but his desire to get back in. So, the interesting part of the NFL offseason, and I was thinking about this earlier, college football, because Paulie and I were talking a little bit, because if you're not subscribed up, we have our YouTube channels, right? So the AFR Saints and AFR LSU YouTube channels, where we put content specific to those teams up on YouTube, just in bite-sized versions. And we're thin on LSU football content because there just hasn't been really a lot. And what's interesting is it's a reminder that sort of that college football, which wants to be a 12-month sport, still has a ways to go to penetrate the way that the NFL does, because the NFL just goes season to season to season. And college isn't quite there yet. But Muse, before we get out of here, do me a favor. Let's get an update, one final update on the poll question, which did involve Sean Payton, who was again introduced today with the Denver Broncos.
Right. Today's Citizens Bank poll question was, will Sean Payton win a Super Bowl in Denver? 81% say no.
What do you say?
I say no.
Paulie? Made you guess, yes or no?
Say no.
But I'm disagreeing with you jokers. I'm going, yeah.
All right.
Sean Payton's getting him one. Him and Russ. He's going to let Russ cook. That's what's happening. I mean, probably not. Especially in that division. But just to be different. Going for it. All right, Muse, Paul, I appreciate you. Y'all have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow at 3.
AFR.
As we get on down the road, let me remind you about Michelli Weighing and Measurement, Michelli.com, Michelli.com. Man, I love telling you about Michelli Weighing and Measurement, your partner for weighing and measurement equipment and services since 1947. If you walk into the Harahan office, which is their headquarters, you walk into the Harahan headquarters, you'll walk through the building, and the way that it's set up, man, there's so many different departments. It's just a giant facility, and you'll see all these big green signs, and it's essentially another industry that they service. If it's aerospace and aggregates, agriculture, the chemical and petrochemical industry, energy, food and beverage, laboratory manufacturing, no matter what you do, if you weigh or measure something, they sell, service, and rent the products you use to weigh and measure. If you need calibration, they do it. They have mobile calibration labs so they can come to you. You want to ship your equipment, they can do that too. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Online at Michelli.com. That's Michelli.com. Learn more or apply online at Michelli.com. That's Michelli.com.
Bayou Ford has $4,000 off MSRP plus $1,000 Ford credit cash on new 22 Ford F-150 XLT trucks. That's $5,000 off plus 0% financing. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.